아. 연습생. 어찌 보면 나 자체이지만 뭐라고 형용할 수 없는 그런 말. 어딘가에 속하지도 않고 그렇다고 무엇을 하고 있지도 않은 그런 시기, 과도기. 내가 그 연습생 신분으로 살면서 가장 곤욕스러웠던 건 친척들과 친구들의 언제 나올 거냐고, 데뷔 언제 할 거냐고 하는 그런 그 질문들이었다. 나는 답을 할 수가 없었다. 뭐냐면 나도 모르니까. 나도 그 답을 알 수 없으니까. 자신감과 나에 대한 확신을 갖고 이곳에 왔지만 나를 기다리던 건 정말 다른 현실. 아직도 3년이 지난 지금도 내가 나가면 가요계를 정복해버리겠다, 할 수 있을 것 같다, 이런 확신을 찾다가도 막상 피디님들과 선생님들께 혼나고 나면 내가 정말 아무것도 아닌 것 같은, 정말 먼지밖에 안 되는 것 같은 그런 기분. 꼭 마치 내 앞에 푸르른 바다가 있다가도 뒤를 돌아보면 황량한 사막이 날 기다리는 것 같은 그 기분. 정말 그 모래시계 같은 기분에서, 그 기분 속에서 나는 내 연습생 3년을 보냈다. 그리고 나는 지금 데뷔를 앞두고 있다. 내가 데뷔를 하더라도 아마 다른 바다와 다른 사막이 나를 기다리고 있을 것이다. 그치만 조금도 두렵지 않다. 분명 지금 나를 만든 건 지금 내가 본 바다와 그 사막이니까 절대 잊지 않을 것이다. 내가 봤던 그 바다와 그 사막을. 나는 연습생이니까.
Hi everyone, nice to see you. We are back for this week's episode of Army Time. And how are you doing, Yami? How have you been this week?
I'm good. Long, busy week. And then this weekend, I went running because it was a sunny day yesterday, and then I didn't realize that it was really sunny, so I'm sunburnt. Watch what I can do.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so I'm a little sunburnt. I should dig out the sunscreen.
Yeah, I can't go anywhere without putting on sunscreen because I just turn bright red. The joys of pale skin.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah.
How was your week? What'd you do this weekend?
Yeah, it's been okay, really. I haven't really done much, to be honest. Just the normal stuff, being stuck at home. You know, I've really not done much. I've started watching all of the vlives from the beginning, so I'm watching them in order just to pass the time. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's on my bucket list of things I want to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's really difficult to get through them all, but I'm just kind of whenever I have a spare moment, I'll just watch one before bed or something like that. So it's not too bad. It'll take me a while, but it's just something to pass the time, really, isn't it? So
yeah. I used to do that. When I could go to the gym, I would just be on the treadmill for 2 hours going through BTS videos, and it was awesome. And now that I don't have that, I don't have my own treadmill, and it's not the same.
Yeah, I can imagine. We had a really sunny day here, but we've just started having this storm now this evening. It's lightning and thunder and everything, so British weather.
Yeah, well, let me know
it.
if you see a lightning storm or a lightning strike. That's always cool.
Yeah. I think they've stopped now. They were worse a while back. I mean, it's quite late here now. We've had a few technical issues again today that has taken up quite a lot of time, but hopefully we've sorted them out now, and yeah it's just very dark here.
It's okay. One day, knock on wood, we're gonna have a technical issue-free recording.
I know, we'll start and then just press record and it will actually happen straight away. That would be good.
So if anyone actually has any tips or tricks for doing stuff like this, please feel free to let us know. We are open to whatever information we can gather.
Yeah, definitely. If you have any idea why our software just doesn't seem to like us, then please tell us. But yeah, I mean, we've got it sorted now, so yeah, hope everyone else has been good and staying safe and inside, not too bored. Yeah, I think that's about it really of what I have to say. I've not done much this week.
Yeah. Well, we're about to do something together now, so let's all have some fun, shall we?
Yes.
Let me show you what the agenda is. So for this this episode, we are going to have another ARMY recap. And then we're going to do another ARMY review where we're going to review 2 more songs on the original Too Cool for School mini album,
Yes.
which are the 2 hidden tracks, right?
Yes.
That
I'm
were...
sure, like, it took me a while to find out about these songs, so maybe there's some of you who haven't heard what we played on our intro today. Let me know if you haven't.
Gotcha. And then we're going to do ARMY Fun Time, where we have a new segment today that we're going to do called Would You Rather, where...
I've never heard of that game before, have you? It sounds really obscure.
Oh, yeah. It's going to take a lot of time for me to explain it to you, but I think you'll get the hang of it.
Yeah.
So we have some really crazy questions for that, so look forward to that.
We do. Yeah, it'll be fun times.
And then the last part will be our usual favorite ARMY Heart BTS. And who is this week's member, Billy?
Oh, well, I think it might be the Sunshine.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll have to check back in when we get there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so shall we get started?
Yes, let's move on to ARMY recap for this week.
Alrighty, so on this week's episode of ARMY Recap, I'm going to start us out with the most exciting thing, in that BTS announced a free at-home concert streaming party titled BangBangCon, which will be airing the weekend of April 18th and 19th on their YouTube channel, Bang10 TV, as well as their Weverse app. Per the schedule release, this will include 8 BTS concerts, starting from 2015's The Most Beautiful Moment in Life on Stage concert to the Love Yourself concert in Seoul that kicked off the entire Love Yourself tour in August of 2018. The streaming party is supposed to last 12 hours a day with the incentive of keeping fans at home and away from other people. And as a little bonus, if you watch the concerts through the Weverse app, you will be able to sync your ARMY bomb with the concerts and participate with the light show at home.
Yeah. I mean, this is so exciting. When I first saw it, I saw that they were doing a concert, an online concert, and I was like, oh my God, are we getting the Map of the Soul 7 concert online? And I got really freaked out. And then I realized what was happening. But I mean, it's still so cool. I think it's amazing what they've done. And honestly, like, my favorite part of the whole thing is that they're doing it for everyone to stay home, like spend the day at home, and they're giving us free content so that we can kind of chill at home and not be bored and have a reason to want to stay home. And that's just really
As
great.
if we need a reason to binge watch BTS.
Yeah, right. But it's great that we can watch all of these concerts, especially for those who like never got to go. It's really nice to be able to just participate with others at the same time online. I'm sure social media is going to be so much fun on these days when we're all talking about it. It's going to be really great.
I think so.
What one are you most excited for?
Probably the older ones. So when I joined the fandom when they were in the Love Yourself Her era, and I wanted to see all the stuff that had come before, but at that time, like, they weren't selling. The only place you could get their like concert DVDs from everything from like Wings era and before that was if you bought it like resale or from third-party sellers on. I don't even know if it was on Amazon at that point. Maybe a little bit, but it was all really expensive and it didn't seem legit. So the fact that all of this will be available to watch now, like in a place where you know it's the real thing, you know, and we'll be able to watch it in order, I think is really cool. I actually really want to see the very first one, the Most Beautiful Moment in Life on Stage one. Yeah,
I'm really looking forward to the Red Bullet tour. I feel like that one's going to be great. Oh, and I'm excited for...
Are they doing the Red Bullet? I don't know if I saw that one on the list.
I feel like it was, but maybe I'm wrong. I think it is, though.
I don't know. We'll have to double check later.
Yeah, we'll check. But I'm looking forward to... Hey, yo! Because that's one of my favorite moments from the tours. And Jimin, I love you. You're the best.
Where was it? Was it on the I think it was the special features from Love Yourself and Soul, where like they were forced to like rewatch their Red Bullet tour, and they couldn't stop cringing over how cringy they were, and they just it was so funny to see them making fun of each other and themselves. It was. It's very therapeutic.
I loved it. It really was, and I'm having like a dilemma of whether to watch it on Weverse or to watch it on YouTube, because if you go into Weverse, then you have like the added benefit of syncing up your army bombs. I don't have an army bomb yet, but I know that there's like an app on your phone that you can use, which is kind of similar. So that would be cool. But then I also kind of have this want to have all armies watch it from YouTube so that we can see how many people are watching it at the same time, because I think that'd be awesome.
Can you watch it in both places at once?
I guess if you have two different devices, which I just so happen to have.
Yeah, do it on your phone and do it on your computer.
Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. Okay, so yeah, that's really fun news. We'll move on to the next piece of news. So, not quite a happy news like the first one, but another musical group this week had some problems with Billboard's calculation of album sales, and they missed out on the #1 spot on the Billboard charts. And in response to this, a hashtag was trended alongside articles and radio personalities and music celebrities all speaking up about the issue and telling Billboard to recalculate. And due to this hypocritical type of thing of the industry, there was quite a big uproar, I guess, or just disappointment from ARMY about the problem that BTS faced that was similar after their album release. So they had an buying party, because of course that's how we decide to respond to things like this, which is great.
I have a quick question. How do we decide which song to stream? Is it just we collectively agree, sounds like the best song for the way we feel right now?
Yeah, I honestly don't know. It just tends to be a few people saying the same thing, and then other people catch on to it, and then some of the bigger accounts catch on to it, and then it kind of just passes around, and
I love that. It's just wild and organic, but it
is crazy how organized our fandom is, honestly.
We're also organized in our disorganization sometimes. Like, we have like one brain cell that we pass around and share with each other of like, hey, how about this idea? And everyone's like, yeah. And someone else is like, I had the same idea a little bit ago. And then we just do it. Yeah.
So anyway, so we also got a radio DJ who went live on Twitter and did a Q&A with armies to discuss why BTS aren't getting radio play. He also proposed to do further research into this and host other radio DJs to kind of ask them questions that armies have sent in. There was an interview done by an army with him. We're still waiting on an update on that matter. But as there's quite a lot of information to cover on this topic, we didn't really feel like we would be able to talk about it enough in this recap segment. So we're actually going to be creating a separate video where we can just dive into these issues and present them kind of factually in a reporter style way, because I think a lot of people outside of the fandom especially aren't really aware of what's happening and what the problem is and why it's important. So please look out for that video that will be coming for you soon. Yeah, I don't think we need to say much about it here. Just know that we're going to be making another video.
Okay, so moving on then to something a little bit happier. Something that we should celebrate is the fact that BTS is now the artist with the highest album sales in Korean history. According to Gaon charts, they are the first Korean artist in history to surpass 20 million copies in total album sales. 20 million.
It's absolutely crazy. And I mean, a lot of those sales just come from Map of the Soul 7 alone. So, yeah.
What I really like is seeing those charts that like compare pre-sales for every BTS album release, because you can see the fandom growing in real time on those charts, because who's gonna pre-order an album before it comes out, before they've heard any of the tracks? It's gonna be actual fans. It's gonna be people who you know, let's be real, all of us say, like, I don't care what the album's about. I know it's going to be good because BTS have never failed to move me with their music.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I pre-ordered this time around. I know you did as well. And I think it's just a statement, isn't it? Because like, we don't want to wait any longer than we need to get it. So we're going to pre-order it so that we can get it as soon as possible. I actually ordered the vinyl as well, but it hasn't come through yet. I ordered it right when it came out, but it's still not arrived. So I'm really excited to listen to it on vinyl. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have a record player then?
Yeah, I've got a record player. I've got like quite a big collection of records that my granddad gave to me, all the like old school like 60s and 70s records and things like that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Does the sound, so I've always heard that the sound quality is better on vinyl than anything else. Is that true?
I don't think it's that it's better necessarily. It just has a really like rustic and unique sound to it. So you can hear all the like the little imperfections and the little static noises, and it just gives it this really homey and warm vibe when you listen to it. And I just love listening to things on vinyl because they sound different, and they sound like you can't really experience it unless you listen to it on vinyl. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
I need to check this out because you're not the only person who's ever told me that, and I've just never had an opportunity to hear the difference.
So you've never listened to a vinyl?
I don't think so, no.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you'll definitely have to. Maybe I can like call you one day. It might kind of show it, but not really. But anyway, yeah.
No, we can try. We can see if the sound quality comes through the phone.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like it a lot, but I just love vinyls as well as a whole because I'm a very old soul. Like I love vintage clothing and old school music and all those kind of secondhand furniture, and I don't know, I'm just big on those types of things, so they just make me feel warm and cozy.
Yeah, that does sound like your style. I can see that.
Yeah. Okay, so our final news is that it actually just came out today. So Big Hit has just announced a new Army Bomb Lightstick, and they're calling it the Map of the Soul Special Edition Lightstick. Some changes have been made to the appearance of the Lightstick from the previous versions, but we don't have any details yet. It was just the teaser for today. So I'm quite looking forward to it, actually. I feel like this will be my first Lightstick, hopefully, if I get to go to a concert when they bring them up. When they get actually shown. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I guess this will be my first Lightstick.
I'm actually very curious about this because the way I understand it is version 3 was the first version that like was Bluetooth compatible in America with you know, like because before that I think like the whole like way that like you pair your Army Bomb and then it changes color based off of what they tell, what somebody somewhere tells it to be, was only working in Korea and Japan, I think. And then they came out with the new version, and that version was now compatible with American stadiums and whatever technology they were bringing there. So this new version, I mean, obviously on the one hand, it's a way to make money. But I wonder what else they've changed in it. Have they improved the technology? Does it have more colors? Does it do more things than just flash at different speeds? I'll take whatever I can get. I love having my Army Bomb. And I never understood the joy of it until I got one. And then I went to a concert and I just loved feeling like I was a part of this mass colored explosion.
I honestly think it's such a genius idea because everyone likes to have their phone lights up and things like that. But when you have something that really makes you feel like you're a part of the crowd and that syncs up, and no concert looks as beautiful as a BTS concert. Like when you see the overhead shots of all the colors changing and when it spells out words, and it's just mind blowing. It's so cool that they've managed to do that with technology. And yeah, like you say, like they've definitely will have improved it and added new features. So I'm really looking forward to knowing what they are. It'll be great. Well, it'd be really cool if they added a feature where like you could just press a button and then it starts playing songs from the album. Please do that, Big Hit. I would really enjoy it.
Do you know how annoying that would be if, like, everybody's Army Bomb at the concert was playing different songs at the same time, creating this, like, cacophony of noise, and everyone's like, please shut it up.
It would have to be something where it wouldn't happen if you were in the vicinity of another Army Bomb. You could only do it when you were alone. But I think that would be cool.
That would be cool. Yeah. So that's exciting.
Yeah, really exciting. I wonder when they'll be bringing it out. Maybe in time for the new concert, or I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get more information on it soon. They usually don't wait too long between videos and things and announcements.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, part of me is thinking, like, okay, if they had actually had the tour, would this Army Bomb have been announced earlier so that everybody could buy it in preparation for the concert? So if their tour is postponed, they wouldn't, if it was postponed indefinitely, like, I don't know, like for a very long time, I don't think they would have released this Army Bomb now.
Definitely not. And I mean...
So if they're releasing it now, it makes me think maybe they're hoping that in a couple of months they will still be able to resume some of their tour dates.
Yeah, I think that's probably what's gonna happen, honestly. I think as soon as this whole mess dies down, that I feel like their first priority is gonna be to reschedule the tour and do it as quickly as they can. So we'll just have to look out for it.
Weren't the, like, Asian locations, like Japan, Korea, maybe not Korea, wasn't all of that scheduled for, like, late summer?
Yeah, because they start in Seoul, and then I think they do America, and then they do Europe, and then they go back to Asia and do, like, the Japan, and then end in Korea. So maybe they're still...
Maybe they'll start with that instead of end with it. Maybe they'll start with it this time, and then going into the new year, they'll just reschedule all the North America and Europe stuff.
Yeah, I think that would make a lot of sense. We'll just have to see, but I mean, yeah, the mess of the world, but
yeah,
it'll get better. It'll be fine.
One can hope. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alrighty, so that's all we have for Army Recap today. So shall we move on to review some good music?
We shall. I'm excited. Let's move on. Okay, so we are moving on to our Army review for this week, and we've almost finished the Too Cool for School album, so we've nearly got to the end of our boys' first ever mini album. I wanted to just say a few words about this album before we get started. I think it was very brave. It was very different. It was very unique. The messages that they were bringing were very personal and very true to who they were at the time, and had a lot of really relatable messages. Their sound was very hardcore, and you could tell that they had a lot of inspiration from hip hop and the types of places that they wanted to come from. And I think this album was put together very well in the way that it flowed from start to finish, the different messages. It was a great introduction to their characters. This is who we are. This is the type of music we want to make, and this is the type of message that we want to spread. And I think they did that very well. And considering how long ago they recorded this and how much less their budget was at the time, I think they did a fantastic job with this album, and it's something to really be proud of. And I'm glad that they got to a point these days where people can appreciate and love this album a lot more than it was shown when it was released. I'm just really glad that happens. Yeah.
Agreed. To be honest, I think you actually hit on a really a big point that I love, in that because they had less of a budget here, it seems more raw. It seems more gritty almost. And like, I can just feel like there's no veneer. This is like who they actually are. And they put their heart and soul, as much as they were capable at the time, of creating something to symbolize like their worries, their fears, their thoughts, their passions in that moment. And so many years later, this is like a time capsule, and I love it.
Yeah, it's like getting to see their minds and their abilities and their capabilities from that time in 2013. And for us who weren't ARMY at the time, and for a lot of people, I feel like it's just so great that we have this time capsule, as you say, that we can just look back on and have an insight into how they were feeling at this time. And I just really love it. I think it's a great debut album from them. Yeah.
Me too. All right, so do you want to introduce the first song that we're going to talk about?
Yes. So we played it in our intro today. Hopefully you were around for that part of it. And yeah, this isn't one that I tend to listen to often because with the hidden tracks, it's a lot harder to listen to them because they're not on my playlists or things like that where I rotate songs and stuff. So I have to actively seek them out. But it was really nice going back to them this week and being able to listen to them again. With this skit, the first one on the start line, it just shows me how incredibly smart and poetic Namjoon has been from such a young age. And I think it's amazing that they included this on the album just as a way for the leader of this new group to express himself and to express their journey up until that point. So if you don't know this song, it's basically Namjoon's poem just over some really like slow and simple piano instrumental. And yeah, it's a basic thing, but it's very effective. It's very tasteful. And when me and Yami were talking about it this week, we kind of thought that it would be for the best for us to just read out the translation that we have and let it speak for itself, because it's not really the type of song that you can comment much on or say too much about, because it is what it is. And I think Namjoon has better words than we do. So yeah. What are your thoughts on this one anyway, before we start?
I mean, like I mentioned before, I really like that this song is a window into their mindset at this time. And before we were going to do this, I had actually never heard this before because it's a hidden track. So I don't have this one and Path only appeared on the physical copies of their two Cool for School album. So I don't have that. And I didn't know to look for it. And honestly, I don't know any other artist who's done that, just from my personal experience. And I really like the concept of hidden tracks because it makes it seem like the artist is saying, hey, you took the time to buy a physical copy of my work. Here's an extra message, an extra thought that I want to share with you because I can tell that you care about me enough that you bought a physical copy of something of mine in an age when everything is digital.
Yeah, well, this is a different album, but with Love Yourself Her, that obviously has hidden tracks as well. And I don't know if you've heard the interview, but in the interview that they did, Namjoon said that the reason they put them as hidden tracks is because unless you've been with them for a long time, unless you really care and you're an ARMY and you really know them for who they are, then you probably wouldn't understand these songs. You would think of them as, I think, because one of them is C, and he said people would think, oh, well, you get so many numbers and you get such high positions on charts, so I don't really understand what you're talking about. And he said that for people who buy the physical copy, it's there just for the people who would truly understand their meaning and be able to link it to their characters. And I think that's so special, and it really makes that bond between ARMY and BTS just so prevalent because
it makes it so real.
Yeah.
Like who else would do that? If you've created an extra song, wouldn't you, a normal artist relationship, whatever, would want to just release it so that they would be able to
make money
off of it. Yeah, and in this case, BTS is saying, no, this is just for you. This is a message to you.
I really
we don't
love
care
that.
about the money.
Yeah.
Yes. So in terms of this song, the skit on the start line, I know you're gonna read through it, but just like the music alone is so sad. Like it's so
sad,
melancholy, and I just like I look at it and I think about how like they struggled before they even debuted, and like you know that, right? It's like they've always mentioned that and they've always said that, but then when you hear it in their music, that they took the time to actually put it into a song, into a skit, so that you could understand how they felt at that time. It just kind of it goes beyond just simply saying like, oh, I struggled. No, it's like I put time and effort into the song so you can understand that, like, here's our mindset at that time.
Yeah, and I mean, I've talked about it before, but I think their trainee years were probably the hardest for them. And they always talk about it even now, how hard the trainee years was and how lost they felt and how unsure of tomorrow they felt and how exhausted they were. And yeah, it's just, it really comes through in these hidden tracks, just how difficult it was. And like you say, this song is very sad and it makes me think of walking down a path in the rain at nighttime and just feeling like really miserable and sorry for yourself. And
you know what it is? It's also like you can sense, I mean, you'll get into the lyrics, but like you can sense their disillusionment with it. That they're just like, I thought I was going to join this idol company. I'm going to make music. I'm going to dominate the industry. I'm just going to make a name for myself because I have the talent. And then them going through the reality of what you actually need to do to get there, and them realizing how small and insignificant they are in the grand scheme of things. And just it's, you know, it's the thing that we kind of all go through, you know, growing up, when you realize that your big dreams are not as realistic as you thought they were. And then
and I honestly think that when you're younger, before you kind of go through this experience personally, you often think that, and it's something Juna said a lot, you often think that happiness is a goal, and oh well, after this I'll be happy, or once I reach this point I'll be happy, or after the struggles have ended I'll be happy. But as you kind of get older and go through more life experiences, like you realize that that's just never the case. There are ups and there are downs in all walks of life, in all phases of your life, and it's more about changing your perspective and not waiting to reach happiness and just enjoying happiness in the moment. And I think that's a journey that they went on themselves, and it's really reflective in their music. And the difference, for example, with Namjoon and his, at first his obsession between idol and artist, and then coming to that realization of, well, it doesn't matter. So he never had to choose. Yeah, like he didn't have to choose one or the other. He just had to change his perspective. And I think that's the same with this kind of feeling. But it's something a lot of us relate to, I think, of just feeling like it would get better and then it didn't. And then you're kind of like, what?
Yeah, what now? Like, what did I do wrong? Yeah. I have another comment, but I want to make it after you read the lyrics. Okay, so do you want to read us the lyrics to the skit, please?
Yes, I will. So this is from Namjoon, our leader, and it's a poem, I believe. It seems more a poem than lyrics, I would say. The translation I've got is off Genius this week because Dulcet doesn't have the translation on her website. But it seems like a good translation, so we'll go with this. Okay. Let me get my most professional and profound speaking voice on. Let's go.
You mean your normal voice?
No. Okay. Trainee. In many ways, this term defines my existence. But at the same time, it is a term that I can never truly explain. A period of time, a state of transition, where I could neither belong anywhere, lost. Wait, never mind, that was my note, ignore the lost. Where I could never... I'm reading out my notes at the same time. Okay, it's because it made me think of the song Lost. Anyway... Right. A period of time, a state of transition, where I could neither belong anywhere nor do anything. Why are you laughing? Shall I start again?
No, keep going. I just keep thinking of you saying lost, and then I was sitting here. I'm looking at the translations as well, and I was like, oh shit, do I have the right song? I don't see that word anywhere.
Yeah. Oops.
Just keep going.
Okay. I feel like I've gotten us out of the serious mood. Okay. The biggest concerns I had living as a trainee were the questions of friends and family. When are you going to come out? When are you going to debut? Questions like these. I couldn't give them an answer because I didn't know either, because such answers were unknowable. Though I came here through a certain confidence and belief in myself, what awaited me was a different kind of reality. Even now, after 3 years have passed, even as I occasionally gain the self-certainty to think things like, once I debut, I will conquer the music industry. Whenever I hear the criticisms of the producers and teachers, I am again overwhelmed by the realization that I am nothing, that I am as inconsequential as a speck of dust. It's as if, though, before me lies the bluest ocean, and if I turn to look back, a vast desert awaits me. In this hourglass-like mindset, in this mood, I spent my 3 years as a trainee, and now my debut is finally drawing near. Even after I debut, new oceans and new deserts will likely await me. I am not afraid, because what has made me who I am are the oceans and deserts I have witnessed until this moment. I will never forget the oceans and deserts I have seen, because I am a trainee. Okay.
I feel like we've said so much. Like we've summarized this entire thing already.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think, and like I said, I think his words really just speak for itself. And the one line that I really wanted to point out, because it just broke my heart, is, and because it's so beautifully poetic as well, I am again overwhelmed by the realization that I am nothing, that I am as inconsequential as a speck of dust.
I think that's a realization you have growing up.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
But this is not linked to BTS, but it reminds me of a quote from my favorite book of all time, Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell. There's a film of it as well, which is pretty good. So if you haven't watched already, you should. But
I need to. It's on my to-watch list.
It's really great. But there's a line in it that is kind of answering Namjoon's line. So it's, let me see if I can remember this. It's something along the lines of, only as you gasp your dying breath shall you understand. Your life amounted to no more than a single drop in a limitless ocean. Yet what is any ocean but a multitude of drops? So I feel like that's that. Right? But it's answering this. A lot. Yeah, like he says, he's realized that he's as inconsequential as a speck of dust. Yet what is any ocean but just multiple drops, you know? What is any atmosphere except multiple specks of dust? So yeah.
I like that. That's actually really reassuring.
Yeah, right? I love it.
I like that thought, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing that I just wanted to say is that whole metaphor of oceans and deserts, it was born here.
Yes.
This long ago.
Yeah.
And I find that just, it's both mind-blowing and just so, like, it makes me feel so proud.
Yes. The journeys that their different lyrics and their different thoughts have gone on through the years. And we kind of touched upon this last episode with Like, and how much their attitude towards love has developed and matured over the years. And then it's the same here with how their attitude towards the sea and the desert and in relation to hardships and just how much it has evolved. And doesn't it just make you so proud?
It does, and it's so relatable, and it makes it's a win. Their experience, their musical expression is their journey as humans through life, and they are giving words and giving voice to feelings and thoughts that we all have and don't talk about or don't spend the time to think about, but we are doing it through them, and I find that enriching because you can apply it to yourself.
Yeah, 100%. And even if you're not there yet, even if you're not caught up to where they're at, just know that you will one day, you know?
Agreed. Is there any last comments you wanted to make on the song?
Just the last thing is that it reminded me of that quote by Namjoon when he said that he thought that the problems would disappear after they debuted, but it turns out you're more likely to have bigger issues once you see more of the world. And again, I think this is just about changing your perspective and not expecting there to ever be an end goal of rosy unicorn and sunshine, and because that's just not reality. And I think once we learn that, it just becomes a lot easier to just be happy in the moment. And I think they've reached that point as well now. Yeah.
To be honest, I don't think I don't think there is a destination in life. Life is just a journey until you can't journey anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
I love them. I just like,
I know.
Us talking about their music, I'm really proud of how deep they were even back then.
Like, how old was Namjoon when they debuted? Maybe like 17 or 18?
Something like that, I don't remember.
I'm not sure off the top of my head, but very young, and he's just a remarkable person, honestly, even back then.
Isn't that what Bang PD Nim said about him? Where he said that, like, what drew him to Namjoon was his deep lyrics at such a young age. And he just, like, couldn't stop. I think Namjoon's way of expressing himself is magnetic. Like, you can't ignore it.
Yes, definitely. And I think it's why he's a born leader, because he just draws people in. Like, he has this way of just really just making you feel something, and you can't not. And honestly, anyone who doesn't like Namjoon, I just don't understand, like, how you could not like Namjoon.
He's one of the most likable people in the world.
Right?
You don't even have to speak the same language. Like, he's just, okay, you had your Namjoon appreciation in a previous episode. Okay.
Yeah, go there if you want to check that one out.
All right, so moving on to the next song, Path. Do you want to introduce this one to us?
Yeah, so I mean, with this one, again, it's very just reflective on their years as trainees. What I really like about this is how we got some really personal looks at each of the rappers' journeys whilst they were a trainee, and how they felt, how each of them came to be here, and how they felt during their time as a trainee. We can get further into the lyrics another point, but I think what's really interesting is that if you think about it, the latest song that they have released is Ego, because it's the outro. Even if it was released beforehand, it's their last song of their discography, apart from the On remix, but I don't think that counts. And this is very similar to Ego. So in the chorus, they say, would I have been different if I had chosen a different path, if I had paused and looked back? And then what will I get to see at the end of this path where you will be standing? And with Ego, he does the same thing of, like, looking back at my life as, you know, as that trainee or as that dancer from when I was younger, and trying to imagine what my life would have been if I'd have taken a different path. But now he's kind of resolved to the point of, well, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, I just have to look forward. I don't need to look back anymore. And what's great about that is that obviously Map of the Soul 7 and Ego sampled from this album. And I feel like they must have gone back and listened to this song and kind of taken influence from it and revisited it. So I just thought that was really interesting.
I love that thought. I think I agree with you. They had to, you know, like, this music is a time capsule. It is how they felt at that moment in time. Can you imagine how trippy it must be to go revisit the you of 7 years ago? Yeah. Well, probably more, because, right, they wrote all this music even before they debuted. I just, like, I also like this song because the lyrics in it are just very, like, they're not flashy. They're just very honest. Like, I want to say it's Yoongi who's, he raps, like, you know, like, this is my third spring here. Like, I'm getting early gray hairs. Like, I feel like an adult child. Like, when are we going to debut? And like, think of it from their perspective, right? You have this group of men who decided they wanted to become idols. They've been training, they've been learning how to dance, how to sing, how to rap, how to entertain, how to have a stage presence, all the other bits and pieces that go into being an idol. I don't know what those are. And it's not like here's your 6-month crash course on how to do it. It's a 3-year process. That's like almost an entire like undergrad somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Like all of their friends, I bet, or people they knew have, you know, are in college, are maybe have internships, have jobs, are moving away from home. You know, maybe they found like a significant other. And then you have the BTS, that they just kind of seem frozen in time, waiting to debut, waiting to start something, feeling
and
themselves...
not even know if it will happen as well.
Yeah, so it's like they're living on a pipe dream, they're hoping, and the world is going on without them, and they just feel like they're waiting for their turn at the table.
Yeah, and it's just so scary. Like, could you imagine living in that mindset every single day, like giving it your everything and not even knowing if it will pay off, not even knowing if it will amount to anything? Like, that would be so scary, especially at such a young age. You would just feel so overwhelmed every single day.
Yeah, and that's where you would start to question, am I doing this right? Like, why is no one else that I know an idol or like an idol trainee? What, like, am I nuts to have gone down this path? Maybe. And I was just gonna say, like, I personally could never have done this. Like, this is not a career path for me. My brain doesn't work this way. I mean, that's why I went into finance and accounting, because someone somewhere will always need a person to take care of the money. So I have job security, and that's how I chose my career. This, to me, is nuts.
I'm the total opposite. So I feel like if I was Korean, maybe I would have been an idol trainee, and I'm very whimsical, but at the same time, I think being that way is just so difficult and so scary, honestly. Yeah, I can't even imagine how they must have felt.
I don't know. I also think this is just like a big gamble. Can you also imagine the pressure on them from, well, they talk about it in the song, like from their family, like, hey, you know, like we said, you know, you made this decision to go to Seoul and train to become an idol. When are you debuting? It's been 3 years. Like, are you sure you're debuting? Are you not being just led along? Like, maybe this isn't going to work out. What is your plan for your future, Namjoon? You know?
And the thing with like idol trainees and stuff as well is the majority of them either never debut, or if they do debut, it doesn't go anywhere. And especially for somebody from such a small company, it was just jumping into the void. And the thing is, with a lot of them, they were at that age where if this didn't work out, what were they going to do? Like, they've already given everything.
They didn't study. Yeah, they didn't, you know, study to take the exam, to go to a good college. They just focused on their passions, which is very admirable, takes a lot of courage, and also a lot of like, just don't think about it, just do it. Do what you can.
Right, so I want to talk about each of the rap verses just briefly, because they all talk about their individual journeys. So what I have for Namjoon's is he talks about this a lot in a Hip Hop Lover as well, of just the types of people that he looked up to and how he tried to forge his own style by learning from these people. And he says, back then my lyrics were all, they've starred out the curse word here, so I don't know which one it was supposed to be, but it says stubborn old fogey. So yeah, like, it's just how he didn't really know what he was doing back then, and he was just trying his best. Also, they mention Hongdae, I think that's how you pronounce it here, and that's just a fun fact because me, you, and Song were actually talking about Hongdae this week before we looked at these lyrics. So I was like, oh, cool.
Small world. Do you want to say what Hongdae is?
Yeah, so it's a district in Seoul, and it's known, so Dorset has written here, it's known for its indie music culture, clubs, arts, and so on. And so Namjoon used to be an underground rapper, releasing and performing tracks So she's just talking about his background. But Hongdae is known as being kind of like quite a cultural and artistic neighborhood. And I was saying how if I ever came to Seoul or lived there for a while, I'd love to go to Hongdae. And I feel like that would be the place I would fit in the most. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the next part of him just talks about how his rap improves. And then I just wanted to highlight this one segment and just read it out again because it's just genius. Some say art is long, life is short, but now for me, art is life, life is sports. Isn't that great? Like, what
I love that.
Yeah,
Wait,
what a line.
what do you think he means when he said life is sports?
I feel like, so what I take from this, so some say art is long, life is short. So you shouldn't put everything into these risky moves and these, like they should be hobbies. Life is short, you have only a certain amount to do things. But then he says, but now for me, art is life, life is sports. So now I don't care about living. Living is just secondary for me. Living is just something that I do because it's easy. Like we have a phrase, I don't know if you use it as well, of like, oh, it's sports. Like life is sports. It just kind of means like, it's just a game. It doesn't mean anything. Like it's just fun. It's just something we can play. So I feel like what he's saying is, oh, some say that we should be focusing on a specific thing and art should be a hobby. But for me, art is my everything and life doesn't matter and it's just a game. So I'm going to focus on my art. And then he says, just do it. And I'm wondering, is that a reference to like Adidas? Is it Nike?
It's Nike. Yeah.
Oh yeah, one of them. I'm not sure, but I feel like it is.
I think, I think it is a reference. Oh my God, this is even better now that we've talked about this. I love this so much.
Right? I love that last passage. I think it's genius, and it's not in his native language. And also, how does he know that saying? Life is sports, like. And the way he says it as well, it's like da 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 da. Like it's a great flow. Mm-hmm.
He's a freaking genius. Like, the more we talk about this, I'm just like, even back then, even their very first freaking album,
yeah,
he could play with words like this. This just makes me angrier that they weren't received as well as they could have been.
Mm-hmm.
Because if somebody had taken the time to just listen to what they were saying, they would have enjoyed it. They would have connected. They would have related, and they would have appreciated this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it really is a shame. But, you know, the positive is that they have people like us now going back over it and giving it the appreciation that it should have had back then. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So did you want to say anything about Namjoon's verse or about the chorus?
Nope. I think you've covered it well. We can move on.
Yeah, okay. So we'll move on to Yoongi's verse. And I think the end of Yoongi's verse is probably my favorite in the whole song, but we'll get there. So what did you think about his passage?
Well, this is where they bring up the concept of him just being like, I feel like a adult child. Like the whole, I'm stuck in place. I'm continuing to grow in body, but my mind, my career, where I am in life is stuck back where it was, you know. Yeah. I feel like also we all go through this where like you compare yourself to your peers as you grow up and you're like, am I doing better? Am I doing as well as everyone else? Am I doing worse? Like, have I met the milestones that life has put before me? And it's a really relatable feeling. And I can only imagine how tough it must be to just be doing this same thing of preparing to debut for 3 freaking years and having it not always be an uncertainty. I could never do that. I don't think I have it in me. I'm not that kind of a risk taker.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people aren't. So for me, like the best part of this and the most telling part of this and the thing I love the most about it is, so he talks about at the end of the first verse, it's the many friends of mine split off one by one without family, lonely is how they've written it, but
I think it's just lonely. I think it's a typo.
Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, I greet the third spring in Seoul. So he's basically saying, like, after the third year of him living in Seoul, all of his friends are leaving him, his family isn't there, he feels alone, and he's just kind of passing through the seasons. And yeah, and then the end of the next verse is, I thought I was alone, but then I heard that it was 7. Rather than being barefoot, I wear the shoes that are called bangtan and go forward another step, a fresh more, the 4th spring that I will greet in Seoul. So isn't that just the most beautiful progression? And it makes me want to cry when I read it, because I think about him and I think about how lonely he must have been, and he just left everybody behind and everyone was leaving him and it wasn't going anywhere. And I'm sure with all the people coming and going who were in the team and then weren't in the team, and then meeting the actual team members, but they were still awkward because they didn't really know each other. But eventually they just molded into this team of 7, and how it's like, okay, last spring it was like this, but now I'm just about to greet the next spring, and this is where I'm at now. And it just touches me on such a personal level.
I think it also speaks to the fact that Yoongi, even back then, felt loyalty to them and was like, I've created this bond. I'm just going to be very quiet about it and just have it and not really tell anyone except through my music. That seems very, very like him, doesn't it?
Very, yeah. He's just... he makes me soft. Okay, so then we've got Hobi's. And he talks again here about how he started out because of his love of dance, and just how difficult it was, and learning to bend and not break. And then so the thing that I really liked in this was, now I try shining a new light on me and carving bangtan into a blank page that is called the world. I walk towards my future with more lights turned on. I put on a smile in the far future. And so it's kind of like, this is a black page right now, but I'm going to try shining something on me and on my team. And I will have this faith in the back of my mind that in the future, there'll be these lights and I'll be smiling. It's just so sweet.
I mean, we'll get into this when we get to our Hobi appreciation hour, but like I don't think he naturally was a bright and shiny person, right? They even talk about it in like various like videos they've done where the rest of BTS is like, Hobi used to be really serious. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. And he made a decision to be like, nope, I'm going to put a smile on my face and I'm going to be hopeful and bright and cheery because that's how I want to greet the future. I don't want to greet it depressed and sad. I don't want to be more miserable. I want to make myself happy.
And so, I think what I love about this as well is when they've said before that there's often a secret that they have the orders of 1, 2, and 3, and usually Hobi goes last because he's full of hope, and he brings that point at the end of the song where it's like, okay, we've had this big journey and we've put everything out, but then we're going to end on Hobi's note of his great tone and his resolve that things are going to be better tomorrow. And yeah, it's just so great that they do that.
Yeah, I think we probably watched the same like video where they say that.
Yeah. So any last thoughts before we move on?
Just that I love that this song goes hand in hand with the skit, and I love that the skit comes first and then the song comes after on the album, because the skit is just Namjoon's thoughts, and then everybody, the song is everybody else going, yeah, we agree completely. We all had the same miserable struggles.
Yeah. It's just really nice as well, because it feels like this is kind of putting the full stop at the end of their trainee years, and with this song, this is the end of one chapter and looking ahead to the next one. And so it's just great that they did that, and yeah, that ends the album. Yeah.
Well said.
Thank you.
Alrighty, shall we have a little break here?
Yes, we shall, and we've got 2 great songs coming up for you. So
From
please go... Yeah.
From Map of the Soul 7, so we're going to jump ahead to the future now.
We are. And go get yourself a cup of tea, cup of coffee, go pee, go do all the things you have to do, and then we'll be back.
널 눈치챘던 순간 떠날만 했어 나 찾아내야 했어 all day all night 사막과 바다들을 건너 넓고 넓은 새길 헤매어 다녔어 baby I can make it better I could hold you tighter 그 먼길 위에서 oh you're the light 주대받지 못한 환영받지 못한 나를 알아줬던 닮아서 그도 보이지 않던 영원의 밤 내게 아침을 선물한 건 너야 이제 그새 내가 잡아도 될까 Oh I can make it right Alright Alright Oh I can make it right Alright Alright Oh I can make it right 이 세상 속에 영웅이 된 나 나를 찾는 그날 너와 내 손 트로피와 갬빈몰 all day everywhere 모든 게 너에게 닿기 위함인 girl 내 요청의 답인 girl 널 찾기 위해 노래 baby 처음보다 조금 더 커진 키에 좀 더 단단해진 목소리에 모든 건 내게 돌아가기 위해 이제 너라는 지도 활짝 펼칠게 말 위해 나봐 왜 못 알아봐 남들의 하우스 땀이나 듣고 싶지 않아 너의 향긴 여전히 나를 꽉 뚫어 무너뜨려 되돌아가자 그대로 Baby I know I can make it better I can hold you tighter 그 모든 길은 널 향한 거야 더 소용없어서 너 아니다는 걸 그때처럼 날 어루만져줘 그도 보이지 않던 영원의 밤 내게 아침을 선물한 건 너야 이제 그새 내가 잡아도 될까 Oh I can make it right Alright Alright Oh I can make it right Alright Alright Oh I can make it right 여전히 아름다운 너 그날은 그때처럼 말없이 그냥 날 안아줘 지옥에서 내가 살아남은 건 날 위했던 게 아닌 되려 너를 위한 거란 걸 안다면 주저 말고 please save my life 너 없이 헤쳐왔던 사막 위는 목말라 그러니 어서 빨리 날 잡아줘 너 없는 바다는 결국 사막과 같은 거란 걸 알아 Alright I can make it better I can hold you tighter Oh I can make it right 그 소용없어서 너 아니다는 걸 Oh I can make it right Alright Alright Oh I can make it right tou쳐버린 것 같아 너 화가 나 보여 아른대는 게임 over 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 만약 게임이라면 download하면 되겠지만 I guess I gotta deal with it deal with this real world 에이 차라리 게임이면 좋겠지 너무 아프니까 I need to heal my medic But I'm another star 완벽하지 못했던 나를 탓해 Breaking my head, breaking my step Always 그저 잘하고 싶었고 깨지고 싶었는데 Please give me a remedy 멈춰버린 심장을 뛰게 해 Remedy 이제 어떻게 해야 해 날 살려줘 다시 기회를 줘 Please give me a remedy a melody 오직 내 우리에게만 남겨질 그 memory 이쯤에서 그만하면 꺼버리면 모든 게 다 편해질까 괜찮지만 괜찮지 않아 익숙하다고 혼자 말했지만 늘 처음인 것처럼 부족하게만 맞아 나 컨트롤 못하지 계속 아파 커싱 사과 오만가지 내 노래 가사 멈칫 하나 말 한마디 다 내 미시감에 무서워지고 또 늘 도망가려 해보자네 그래도 너가 내 그림자 커져가 내 삶과 넌 네 cosign So your remedy your remedy yeah Please give me a remedy 멈춰버린 심장을 뛰게 할 remedy 이제 어떻게 해야 해 날 살려줘 다시 기회를 줘 Please give me a remedy 또다시 뛰고 또 넘어지고 Honestly 수없이 반복된데도 난 또 뛸 거라고 Oh remedy 멈춰버린 심장을 뛰게 할 remedy 이제 어떻게 해야 해 날 살려줘 다시 기회를 줘 Please give me a remedy 멈춰버린 심장을 뛰게 할 remedy 이제 어떻게 해야 해 날 살려줘 다시 기회를 줘 I won't give up
Welcome back.
I have to say this every single time I listen to Jamais, and I've tweeted about it. I've said it multiple times on camera, but the last chorus of Jamais is a masterpiece, and I will never tire of saying so.
I love what is it? It's like is it like a trombone? It's brass. That like wah wah like I love it. It's so emotional and like no matter what my mood is when I'm listening to that song, when it gets to that part, I'm like rocking out and that's what I was doing while the camera was off.
But do you think it just like the rest of the song sounds quite sad, but then the last chorus like with the same chorus but then the muted vocals of the hook in the background just sounds so hopeful.
Yes. It's like it's a resolve.
Yeah. Oh, I adore it. Oh, it's genius.
What a great song to come back to.
I know, right? I love it. So I have made my coffee in the break and I'm ready for some fun. Are you guys ready for fun? I'm so excited for this week.
This week I don't think anybody's ready for the kinds of songs that we have going on here.
You mean the questions?
Yeah, questions. Whatever.
Yeah, same.
I don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
I'm just excited.
All right, so this week we are doing a Would You Rather game where we're
we should have drinking game. We should have made it a drinking game.
One day.
One day.
Because I'm telling you right now, I am a lightweight and like one drink and I'm ready to go to sleep. So we'll have to work on that. We'll work on my tolerance to get me up to that.
We'll have to have a few like quiz nights between the two of us where we like drink and play games to get you in the right frame of mind to record.
We could record all of those as well and just watch them last like 5 minutes before I'm like, okay, we have to stop.
I mean, please look forward to that because we have had many discussions between the two of us, and also Amaz mentioned it as well about how much fun it would be to do a drunk live. So look forward to it.
Yeah.
Drink responsibly, everyone.
Yeah, do that. Nobody extra can afford to go to the hospital right now. So
Yeah. And if you're underage, then just get yourself like some fruit juices, some lemonade, and like
that'll
make
be
yourself
me.
a little cocktail.
I'll be doing that. Can I just tell you, I like the alcohol-free cocktails that you can get at restaurants, like the Shirley Temples,
So good.
the like the like kids version of a margarita. I'm like, I don't need the alcohol. Just
And they're
give me.
so much cheaper as well.
Yeah.
Can you please turn on Army Tangent, because I feel like this is worth of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna say,
Tangent.
like alcohol is what makes cocktails expensive, right? And
Yeah.
and so did you notice that like the more expensive a drink is, it's because it's got like more premium alcohol in it, but
Yeah.
the more premium the alcohol, the less you taste it.
Yeah. Yeah.
None of us want to taste alcohol. We just want to feel the effects.
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it depends how strong it is, because I just love that feeling, you know, when you're having a drink and you just like, you just feel it like going down your throat and you're like, oh,
That's what she said.
This is everything. Ew. Ew.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Do you call them mocktails in the US? That's what we call them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mocktails.
Yeah, they're so good. So
yeah,
good.
or just like kids version, and I'm like, that's me. That's what I want. And
Yeah.
and when I order them at restaurants, like usually it's like they'll just look at me and be like, "Are you sure that's not the alcoholic menu?" And I'm like, "I know, I know. Just
Yeah.
let me have my way, please."
Every single time I buy a cocktail, it's only when they're having 2-for-1 cocktails, because I am not paying the prices that they charge for cocktails. It's ridiculous. That was the perks of being a student in a student city, because every night of the week somewhere was having 2-for-1 cocktails, and I miss that.
Yeah, I mean, going out in DC is very expensive. It's like one drink is like $10. And then you go to New York and one drink is like $30 minimum.
Oh, London is the same. London is terrible. I went to university in the north of England, and just for the heads up, if you want to party in England, go to the north. Newcastle, that's where I went to university, just is the best place ever for nightlife. So yeah, if you're going to the UK, go to Newcastle.
Yeah, I visited London a couple years ago with my husband for a vacation, and we like didn't know where to go out, so we asked one of the restaurants we were at for recommendations, and they gave them, and they were places where each drink was like probably translated to $30 or $40, and we were, and it was really good. It was also tiny, and I'm like, really? I'm paying how much money for like I'd rather have 3 times that amount of liquid and have it be like a cheaper brand or whatever. Like,
yeah. Okay, anyway, we've gone on about alcohol for too long. Can you tell that we're kind of stressed?
we need some alcohol. Okay, alrighty. So this will be 10 songs of Would You Rather. And
Stop saying songs, they're questions, Yami.
I'm gonna sing them. I don't know about you. All right.
All the answers will be in harmony.
Fuck it. All right, let's just start. Okay. So, the first question is, would you rather be in a group chat with the Hyung line or the Maknae line?
Ooh. Well, okay, the first thing to point out is that JK never replies, so I feel like
exactly.
if you're in the Maknae line group chat, you will just be a third wheel to Tae and Jimin for your whole entire life, so... But I mean, that's both of our biases, so maybe we would enjoy being the third wheel.
I mean, I already thought about this, and it was the same thing. Like, if you have the Maknae line, it's 3 of them. One of them will never frickin' reply, so it's only going to be 2. Versus the Hyung line is 4 of them, and you know there's going to be like times when Yoongi shares like a link to some story or something, and he's like having like Schadenfreude, like where he's like, look, they're not doing so good now. And then Jin will probably say something like sassy in response, and then Namjoon will just like message in the chat. He's like, hey, have you guys seen my phone? And then everybody will be responding, are you not messaging on it?
That's so Namjoon, it hurts. Oh my god.
Yeah,
You know, I think I would love to be in the Hyungline group chat because I feel like it would just be like a roast session, like very regularly. I think it would be the best thing ever. And I'd also just love Jin just writing the stupidest comments and everyone just being like,
yeah, being like, really? We're not responding to you.
yeah.
And then him being like, is no one gonna mention my really funny joke? And then Yugi's gonna be like, no.
And then Hobi just sending GIF after GIF after GIF.
Yeah, probably like ones he downloaded from ARMYverse where he's like, oh my god, look at the new ones that ARMY's made. And everyone's just like, stop, we don't care.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that is like an easy one, to be honest. I'm glad you started with this one because this was quite an easy choice.
Yeah, okay. So, next one. Would you rather battle Jimin for the last roll of toilet paper or go without?
Yeah, so when we received this question, we asked people, the armies that are our friends, to send us some questions. And we decided to pick this one because how relevant to today's world of the lack of toilet paper. You know, army tangent time, just very quickly. Let's change the slide. So I went to my local corner shop. I have been without toilet roll now for like 3 weeks and have had to use kitchen towel because everybody decides that they're going to buy toilet roll.
What is
kitchen towel?
Oh,
it's
paper
like
towels? Paper towels?
Yeah, like the ones you use to clean up mess in the kitchen. So I have had to like use them and then like break the things in half so that I don't use too much of it because everybody decided that they wanted to clear out every supermarket, every corner shop of toilet roll, which is just the stupidest thing in the world, by the way, because why would you need toilet roll? If it comes to it, like you just rip up sheets and use them, use a shower, like if you don't have toilet roll, is it really that big of a deal? No. If you don't have food, probably more of a big deal, you know?
I just like how everybody decided that they were just going to have massive diarrhea the minute the virus hit. And they were like, we need all the toilet paper.
No. But yeah, I finally managed to get some toilet roll from my corner shop this week. And they're doing them. They're only selling them in little 2 toilet rolls. 2 toilet rolls.
2?
2. That's it. All you get is 2. And it was like almost £2, which is like probably like $2.50 like in US money.
For 2 of them?
For 2 toilet rolls.
Oh my god. Wow.
Yeah. So I've been having a nightmare when it comes to toilet rolls. So I tell you what, going back to the previous slide, I will beat the out of Jimin to get those toilet rolls. No, I wouldn't. I love him.
So anybody watching at home, if you want to be kind and send Billy some toilet paper.
I will make a P.O. box just for that.
All right, let's go back to this question.
On a serious note, I could just
what
never do
serious
anything to little
note?
Jimin.
What do you mean on a serious note? This is the least serious question we have.
On a serious note, in comparison to me saying that I would beat Jimin up for toilet roll, which was just me being over dramatic. On a serious note of how I really feel about this question, Jimin could literally just smile at me and I would give him his way every time. So there's no way I'm going to be able to win in a battle for toilet roll. I will just I will offer up my clothes as toilet roll for him if he really wants it.
Oh, baby.
So
you will happily walk around naked and he can use your clothes. It's no problem. It's
fine. It's fine. I'll go with that.
See, for me, I'm battling him because it's going to be hilarious either way. Either I'm going to lose or I'm going to win. And it's just going to be really funny because I don't, because this just says battle Jimin. It doesn't say how, you know, it could be a wrestling match. It could be
actually a dance battle.
It could be a dance battle. It could be a round of Uno. Like, it could be a card game. Like, there's plenty of ways to battle him. Either way, I want to do it. So.
Fair. I mean, I just have this image of the two of us trying to, like, challenge Jimin to a dance battle in the streets or something.
And him just looking at us like, you guys are thinking much too highly of yourselves.
I feel like he'd just be like, you know, I'm just going to give the toilet roll to you to save this embarrassment because I can't watch anymore.
Well, then that is still using our resources. So
yeah, true.
A win is a win.
But to be fair, I have said before, I feel like they have the same weakness for ARMY that we have for them. So if we were like, oh, like, please can you let us have the toilet roll?
He'd be like, fine,
like
I don't care.
Yeah, yeah.
I have paper towels.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Do you want to read this one?
Would you rather have Namjoon write a song about you or Yoongi write a song about you? Ooh.
Well, you know, either way, they could write a song about how we don't have toilet paper now.
Yeah, true. Well, yeah, that's a good point, though, actually. Like, it says write a song about you, but, like, what kind of song? Because you initially think it'd be, like, a really nice song, but what if it was, like, oh, they have to write a song about, I don't know, the most embarrassing moment of your life, or...
Well, okay, so here's my take on it. If Yoongi writes a song about you, he's gonna be honest. He's gonna see you through a very honest lens, and that's what he's gonna write about. And if Namjoon writes about you, then hold on, sorry, my shirt is coming undone.
Take it off.
No, that's only for Jimin. In exchange for toilet paper.
Yeah.
So if Namjoon writes a song about you, it's going to be very beautiful sounding, and
Philosophical.
yeah,
Hopeful.
philosophical. Well, who knows if it's hopeful, but it is. It's probably gonna make you think and maybe blow your mind a little bit, or make you just feel stupid when you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So
yeah.
do you want the brutal, honest take on you, or do you want the highbrow philosophical thinking that makes you wonder if your brain works correctly?
Honestly, this comes down to, for me, which way I lean towards. So I'm a very philosophical thinker. I like sentences that are kind of like, oh, what does that mean? That's phrased very, very interestingly. And so I feel like I would, but I don't know. I'd like Namjoon to write a song about me, but then I feel like if Yoongi wrote a song about me, like,
I think
it would just motivate me. And
you know what? I want Yoongi to write a song about me because I want him to like make fun of me, and I just want to die laughing as he like raps me and like, you know, like roasts me, and then I'll just be like, yep, that.
Hey, maybe he'll talk about his tongue technology in the song.
Yes. Wow, we're having a very thirsty recording day.
I know, right? Yeah. Oh, that one's so hard. I feel like, okay, if I had to choose, I would like Namjoon to write a love song about me, and I would like Yoongi to write me a motivational song. Something to get me off my ass. So,
yes.
Yeah, I'm copping out and picking both.
I love all.
I love all.
Okay, so take that one away. And our next question is... Continuing the theme of thirst. Would you rather?
Can you imagine what the chat is like right now? I'm counting on you all to be thirsty in the chat right now when you're watching this.
Please don't judge us. It's been a long day.
Yeah.
Okay, so the question is, would you rather get a lap dance from Jimin or Hobi?
Oh.
I already know my answer. This is a very difficult question. I
feel like this should have been phrased, would you rather get a lap dance from Jimin or Jay?
Yeah, whatever. It is Jay. You know. So here's my take on it. I think Jimin enjoys when he makes people lose their minds in a very specific way, and it shows on his face. I want a lap dance from Jimin. 1, because he's my bias, and 2, because I just want to see him looking at me and watching me lose my shit. That would just make it better.
I think I would pick Hobi because I just feel like, for starters, he just has but then so does Jimin. Oh, this is so hard.
Well, Billy, you're gonna have to make a choice. Jimin or Jay?
Okay, I'm gonna pick Hobi because I feel like Hobi has this kind of alter ego come over him when he's dancing, when he's performing on stage, and the stage presence that he has, just the way he completely like overwhelms your senses. I feel like getting a lap dance from him would just kind of make you die and never want to live again.
Getting anything from any of them would make you die.
That is true.
Okay, next question. This is yours.
This was my question. This is a look into my fabulous imagination, because this is the type of things I think of on a daily basis.
Would you like to read this one for us, Billy?
Sure, I would. If nobody thinks, or if any of you think that this isn't the best question of the night, then you're wrong. Okay, you're wrong. So, would you rather only ever say the name of your bias for the rest of your life, or suffer from the affliction of whenever you farted, it sounded like Jin laughing?
You know, I have a scientific, I have a logical explanation for why I'm picking my choice. And that is, so if I only ever say the name of my bias for the rest of my life, I'll be like Hodor from Game of Thrones, right?
Oh my god, Hodor!
I know, too soon, sorry.
Yeah.
But just like, I would be like, Jimin. And the thing is I need to speak. I need to say more than his name. So I can't do that one.
Do you though?
Well, on the other hand, if like my affliction was only when I farted, then I would just have to change my diet and make sure I never had a reason to be flatulent. And then I would avoid that problem. Or I would just have to let people know that, like, I have this disease. The Kim Suk-jin disease.
Tay. Tay. Tay, tay, tay. Tay, 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 tay. Tay, 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 tay. Tay, 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 tay. Tay, tay. Tay, 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 tay. Tay, 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 tay.
Jimin. Jimin.
Tay.
Jimin.
So if you didn't understand,
Jimin.
if you couldn't translate that, I think my answer was saying that if it was up to me, then I would probably pick to choose that whenever I farted, it sounded like Jin, because in my humble opinion, there's nothing wrong with that. I think it would literally make my life 10 times better.
Can you imagine being sad and like having a bad day, and then you just let one rip and then start laughing
Right?
along with it?
So to go along with what you were saying, I would change my diet so that I farted as many times in a day as possible. Yeah, so I'm
You
thinking
could literally
Jin.
start your own show.
Yeah, like just I would just like to.
From Galaxy S1.
You need to. I don't. What was that? Was that God?
It was me trying to play Jin's laughing, but then I forgot that I was connected to my speaker. Oh, it's not just consistent laughing. That's a shame. Oh, I'm disappointed in this video. Anyway, there you go. That's my answer.
That's a wonderful answer. All right, let's move on to the next question.
Yep.
Every time I say next question, I think of Hobi from that one interview they did during the Love Yourself Her era in America, where they're all wearing like jean jackets, and he's so proud of himself, and he goes like, next question. Next question.
Can we just, I think this is an appropriate time to unveil our newest slide. Please turn to our newest slide.
We need to use it appropriately. So
I have a reason. Trust me.
Oh God. Okay, here we go.
And we just talk about how frustrating all the interviews for that era in the US were, because I hated every one of them except Zach Sang, but I mean, we're all kind of
we don't talk about him right now.
Yeah, we're not talking about him right now. But I would just like to say that I hate everyone that interviewed them, and I hate all the stupid questions that they were asked. And
who do you want to collab with? I still don't know. I still have no idea who they want to collab with. That was never asked.
JK, Suga,
Jimin,
and J-Hope. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or no, they wanted to collab with those people from The Mess. Yeah, you know.
Oh, BTS with The Mess.
With The Mess. BTS with The Mess. Exactly. The only positive to come out of that those interviews were the meme videos, because the meme videos for those interviews were everything. But everybody else who interviewed them and asked them the same questions, you are on this week's Shade Room, and we're annoyed with all of you. So
yeah. To be fair, like, part of me feels like all those questions that I just said questions. I'm making up words now. All of those questions that BTS got asked, I feel like they were from a list of questions that were approved by Big Hit. But so it's like, on the one hand, you can make the argument that like, there's only so many questions that could be asked of BTS, but I really disagree with that, because using your creative mind as a journalist, as an interviewer, as someone who is actually asking people questions for a living, you can be creative and think of other things to ask besides, you know, who's your favorite US actor or actress crush? Who do you want to collab with? You know, what's the favorite food that you like to eat in America? Also, who the fuck
What are you
cares?
listening to here right now, like, from our artist? And I'll rephrase my annoyance. I'm not so much annoyed with the questions. I'm more annoyed with just the lack of research, the lack of professionalism, and the fact that it was never about them. It was always about American artists and their culture, and not, like, because if I didn't know about BTS and I got a chance to interview someone from a completely different country that was, like, blowing up in my country, I'd be so intrigued, like, about how they live and how they make their music and how things are different. And like, I feel like I would ask so many, I'd want to know so much about it. And I don't know, it's just like, with some of the interviewers,
here's their counter argument. They would say, well, we're asking questions that the average listener in America would want to know. And I'm like, that is not true. You are asking safe questions that have been already proven through studies that people are interested in other Western acts. People are already interested in Western food because that's where we fucking live. You are like, but you're not doing anything that will enrich anyone's life. Life. You're not even entertaining people, because it just ends up being very narcissistic. Right?
Yes. And it just gives the impression, like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm going to come for the US a bit here.
Go for it.
The UK isn't much better, but it just goes alongside the interpretation that America thinks they're better than everybody else and are just selfish and are self-absorbed and just don't care about anybody other than themselves and are always trying to be on top and show how much better they are. Like, that is a common, like, thing that a lot of people from different countries think of America. And those types of questions just literally reinforce that stereotype of it. So yeah,
no, I agree with you. It creates this perception that everybody wants to know what American food is like. Everybody wants to know what everybody's favorite American artist is. And I live here. I don't fucking care about Western artists.
Yeah, I agree with you. So anyway, that can end our very first usage of our Shade Room that you guys requested that we put into it. So look forward to that in future episodes.
I actually have a question. Aren't you not supposed to flush paper towels down the toilet?
No, it's fine, because there's basically toilet roll.
No, well, like, that's the whole point of, like, toilet paper, that it's really flimsy and it falls apart.
Well, it's not my problem.
Bailey is clogging her toilet.
Yeah, well, blame everyone who overbought toilet roll, because if somebody comes and says to me, you've been clogging the drains, I'll be like, I don't care. You go and talk to everybody that overbought toilet roll and then come back to me, because it's not my problem. Yeah.
Fair. What question were we on?
We just did the one about Jin's fart laughing.
Okay, is that 4?
I think it was 5.
Okay, we did this one. Did we do this one? Yeah. Okay. Next question. I love this one.
This one, I literally, like, when I read it, I went like this.
I know. Okay, so would you rather smush a baby crab with your shoe in front of Namjoon or curse Seokjin and spit on his shoes?
First of all, like, oh, I don't know why that was so funny to me. I think it's just the way it's phrased. Oh my god.
Like how are these two options that you have? And then first off, can you imagine both of their faces if you did either one of these things? Like if you smushed a baby crab in front of Namjoon, you would literally break his heart. You'd have just like a heartbroken expression, and he probably wouldn't talk to you for at least a week.
Oh my god. No, he would hate you for life.
No, there'd be ways of getting back into his good graces, but it would take time, and he would just, like, not be able to explain why he can't handle you right now. And then Seokjin, if you, like, cursed him out and spit on his shoes, it would be like kicking a puppy.
Right? Because I don't feel like he would get angry. He would just be like, oh.
Yeah. So it's soul crushing either way.
I know. I feel like my heart is going to break from these questions. I'm going to try and come up with a logical explanation.
Okay, I already have mine, so go ahead.
Okay, let me think about this. Okay, I've got it. So, this is where my brain just went right now. So if I was to smush a baby crab, not only would I be literally destroying Namjoon's life and his heart and his soul, but I would also be killing an innocent animal, which is really not very nice. But if I cursed Jin and spit on his shoes, I could then pull out a camera crew and be like, you've just been on a hidden camera show. And then I could like get away with it.
Oh my god, Billy, that was like pretty much my same reasoning. Like,
really?
For Namjoon, I'm like, I'm killing something. I can't take that back. But I could do that to Jin and then be like, just kidding, it was all a joke. Like, I didn't actually mean it. And then I could immediately make it up to him. Like, one you can make up, the other one you can't.
Yeah. I mean, spitting on someone's shoes is still pretty gross, but at least it's not spitting in their face, because I don't think I could do that.
No, not even as a joke.
Yeah, definitely not.
Unless he's into that.
Well, yeah, you know. Okay.
All right, next question.
First hours have resumed. Thanks, Yami.
You're welcome.
Would you rather have one kiss from your ultimate bias or infinite kisses from your bias wrecker?
So, what if all of them are my bias wrecker, including Sejin and Bang Nim?
No, you have to pick the one that bias wrecks you the most. That's what I've done with mine. All of them are my bias wreckers as well, but I'll pick the one who bias wrecks me the most for this question. So who bias wrecks you the most? Like the most often?
Well, because of their mind or because of their thrusting on stage?
Just in general of like...
Which part of my body am I deciding with right now?
You have to have both. Like, which one comes to mind? As soon as I said that, what was the first member that came to your mind?
Namjoon.
Okay. Well, there you go. Mine is also Namjoon.
All right, so do we want infinite kisses from Namjoon? My answer is hell fucking yeah.
Hell yeah. Like, I'm not being funny. It would probably make me so happy if I ever got to kiss Taeyang. But if I got to have infinite kisses from Namjoon, that probably means that he would end up being my husband, or at least, like, my lifelong bit on the side.
Yeah, he's your side piece.
Yeah, right. So that means that I get to be by Namjoon for the rest of my life, and
he's by you. Yeah. He just follows you around, and you're like, kiss please. I need another one. Kiss please. Oh nope, that wasn't enough. Another one. Kiss please.
Yeah,
he'd have really chapped lips.
He would, but he carries a lip balm with him everywhere he goes, so it'll be fine. Yeah, definitely infinite kisses from Namjoon.
Okay, this question then was easy.
Yeah.
All right, question number 8. Okay, a serious one. I don't know. I can't turn this sexual. I don't know how. I'm going to be serious now. Would you rather truly get to know the members with all their flaws and risk having your idea of them ruined, or continue knowing them the way you do right now and preserve your warm feelings?
Okay, so my first response to this is honestly one of the things that I wish the most about being an ARMY, and when I think of them, is that I wish that they could show everything and it would be okay. I wish that they were able to show their weaknesses and it not to be a problem, or them not to feel watched or judged or things like that. So I feel like if I got a chance to see all of the things they hide, see all the flaws and the things they're ashamed of or things like that, then I would be able to do that myself. And I don't know, it makes them more real, and it means that somebody's there to love them for all of them. And that's what true love is, right? Like, it's not about just seeing the perfect version of somebody and loving them. Like, it's about loving everything. But
it's about seeing the flaws and going, I love you because of your flaws, not in spite of them.
So
I'm the same way.
I don't think that if I got to know everything that my opinion would change. I really don't. And I know it's easy to say, but that's just how I feel.
I'm a person who values honesty. I've said this before, very, very highly. And I don't feel like I can get a good read on a person when I just see the perfect side. And I've always wished that I could know BTS on a better level. I don't need them to be perfect. That does not interest me. I want them to be human. Like, and I also respect their privacy and their desire to keep the things that they want hidden. I completely respect that. But if there was ever a chance for me to know them and to know all those little things that they are insecure about or have a weakness for, or that would make me love them even more. I agree with you. I want to show them that their true selves are just as lovable. Can you imagine how difficult it is to have this campaign, this love yourself campaign, and tell everyone, hey, like, it's okay, you should love yourself. Like, that is a really important thing in life. And to be struggling with it yourself, doesn't it make you wonder if you're being hypocritical? Doesn't it make you doubt yourself? Like, I can only imagine how hard it still is. Yeah,
it reminds me a lot of what I think it was Jimin who said this, where because they hide things, that doesn't mean they're lying or being untrue. It's just they're role models. Like, they have a certain responsibility. And I think in regards to the Love Yourself campaign, they probably do it behind the scenes, but it's just not something they can show. Like, if one of them smoked, for example, they couldn't show that because they're role models.
Well, each time they've even hinted that one of them smokes, like, shit went sideways on the internet and people started to express an opinion on things that have nothing to do with them. And to be honest, from what I know, there are a large amount of people in Korea who smoke, as is true in pretty much every country, unless it's outlawed anywhere. I don't think it is. But so just like the idea that, like, I get what you're saying, that like they have to be role models, but I still hate that, like, people are like, how dare they even pretend to smoke? Like, sure, maybe it's bad for them. Maybe it is bad for them. You know, it damages their vocal cords, and their lung capacity, but it's still their life. It's not up to you to decide what the best thing they need to do for their musical career is. You don't know the other things that they have to deal with that they have already handled in a different way. Like, maybe this is the only way they can handle everything else, plus the shit that you do now.
At the end of the day, we don't have a right to judge and we don't have a right to comment on anything they do. And I mean, what I was saying is that they have this obligation. I don't like it. I think it's awful. I wish it wasn't like that. But that's just the way it is. Like, unfortunately, that's just something they have to do. But that's what I mean. That's why I would like to, if I was given the opportunity to see it, I think that's what I would choose every time, because it shouldn't be that way. It really shouldn't. And it's even harder in Korea. Like, at least Western stars, like, if they smoke, they smoke. If they drink, they drink. If they have a binge in a scene out somewhere, like, it's on the news, but nobody really cares. And if they have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, like, it's whatever. But, like, in Korea, it's, you have to be squeaky clean. And they aren't to such an extent that other idols are. Like, they are very, very open, and they show as much as they can. But some things they just can't, like, and that's just a price that you have to pay, I guess. I wish it wasn't like that, but yeah, it just is. Like, could you like, even the things that came out, like, look at the whole thing that happened with JK and, like, hugging someone.
That makes me so angry.
So angry. And the fact that he felt like he had to apologize.
Yeah, the emotional toll it took on him, and how he literally apologized in their Bon Voyage.
Yeah. It broke my heart, honestly.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, let's get back to something a little happier. We're not having fun time anymore.
I know.
All right, we have 2 more questions left. Question number 9. Oh God, this is another one of yours.
Of course, it's another one of mine. Do you see how experimental and interesting it is?
Okay, well, you can read this one then.
Okay, would you rather have dreams every night of being chased by Yoongi's face on the body of a hungry spider, or every time you were supposed to focus, your mind wandered to JK's little finger? It's very specific, of course.
It is. So this isn't a euphemism when you're saying JK's little finger.
Of course it's not a euphemism. I would not use the word little. Come on.
Yeah, you would have probably said, like, thumb.
Yeah, his giant big toe.
His oversized thick toe.
First hours are back in the chat. Let's move on. I genuinely meant his little finger, as in this bad boy.
You mean his pinky?
Yeah, little finger. That's the same thing.
Okay, yeah. All right, my answer, I want to focus on JK's little finger, because the other option literally sounds like a PTSD, like, nightmare-fueled disaster that would make me unravel as a human being, and I can't live like that. I'd rather be obsessed with JK's little finger.
But you didn't read
I'd rather
the
be obsessed with all of his.
No, you didn't read the question. Every time you were supposed to focus, aka you're trying to cook dinner, but you can't because all you can think about is JK's little finger. You're trying to get some work done. Nope, JK's little finger. You're going for a run and you're trying to cross the street and look both ways. All you see, JK's little finger. So that's more serious.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to open an online shop where all I do is draw fan art of JK's little finger. And I'm going to make so much money that I'm going to actually be able to support myself and literally have somebody else cook for me and dress me. Or maybe I'll just dress as JK's little finger. I'll buy a bodysuit and I'll just be his little finger. There are ways to cope with this affliction, okay, Billy? I am ready and willing to try.
Okay, well, I'm going to go for the dreams, because even though I'm terrified of spiders, at least I still get to see Yoongi's face. You know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you'll laugh at the spider.
Probably not. I have a terrible phobia. But, I mean, and it's only in dreams. Like, you'd wake up and you're like, oh my god, that was horrible. But, I mean, as well, if it's every night, then after, like, a few weeks, you'd just be used to it. You just expect it. It wouldn't really, like, affect you anymore. Whereas I feel like the second option would just take over your life.
That's fine.
Plus, I don't just want to think about JK's little finger. I'd like to think about his ring finger and his middle finger and his index finger and his thumb.
And his big toe.
And his big toe. Yeah.
His extra big toe.
Oh, yeah. Insert that, like, face.
Oh, this has gone sideways. All right, last question. I still can't say that word without thinking of Hobi.
Which one? Oh, next question.
All right. Would you rather be Jimin's best friend or Jin's sister? This is a very difficult question.
This is so hard. Because honestly, like, when they do those questions when it's like, oh, which member would you like to be best friends with? Which member would you like to be their sister? Which member would you like to date? Blah, blah, blah. Every time it's best friend, it's always Jimin for me. Jimin is the one I feel like would be my best friend. And every time it's sister, it's Jin. Like, I want Jin to be my big brother so that he can come and, like, hold my head and give me a kiss on the forehead and, like, take care of me. So this is, like, my ideal scenario for both members. And I'm going to find this very hard.
Well, hold on. So we didn't specify if you're older or younger for Jin, because honestly, I would love to be Jin's big sister so I could come and sass him out and be like, well, I am older than him, and just be like, what are you doing? And then I was just like having a sassy fight and cooking together and like going shopping together and like, you know, picking out each other's clothes, because, you know, he does like his fashion.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, see, I'd like to be Jin's little sister because I feel like he would be the best big brother in the whole entire world. And he is like, 5 years older than me? So like, I feel like we would have the same age difference as him and JK. And I just feel like he is everything I need in life. Is just Jin as my big brother. And then I think I'd just be happy forever.
But then on the other hand, being Jimin's best friend, that man loves his PDA. I just want Jimin to hug me. Just lay himself on me, drape himself on me all the time, like the way he does to everyone else.
And if he was your best friend, maybe you would like end up falling in love.
Yeah. See, this for me is very difficult because he's my bias. But I feel
like if you were best friends with Jimin, like he would always come and like be like, oh, I was at the shop and I saw this and thought of you, so I bought it for you, or oh, I bought takeaway. Do you want to hang out, or let's go grab a drink, or you know, like he would just.
I hate this question. You're right. You're so right. I can't pick.
I know, I can't. I feel like this is our final question, and I feel like this is the one that I'm just like, you know, I just can't choose because I want both so bad.
Why can't you be both? Why can't you be Jin's sister who happens to be Jimin's best friend?
That's how we meet. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So actually, everyone in the chat, I want to know what you guys think, or everybody watching later. Leave us a comment because I can't answer this question, and I need to see what other armies have to say about this.
Yes, I need you, every one of you, to write down your answers for every single one of these questions with reasons, because this could get inventive, and I'm very much looking forward to reading these comments. So, yeah.
By the way, if you guys have any more Would You Rather questions that you'd like us to have on this, please feel to throw them our way. Like, DM them to us or tweet them at us.
We can play this again another time if you enjoyed this segment, and just send us your questions and on DM or in the comments or something like that, and we will take note of them. Yeah.
All right, on that note, shall we move on?
We shall. Oh my god, I just realized I forgot to say, so when I look at the songs, I like copy and paste the lyrics and like add my notes and things, and I have a sentence written in capital letters at the end of Path that I forgot to talk about. So I'm just going to read out the sentence to you right now of my capital sentence. The last chorus with June singing and JK ad-libbing.
Yes! Oh, I forgot about that too!
Right?
Oh my god! You're right. Now I understand why you had that reaction. Because the whole time we were talking about it, I was thinking it. I was like, don't forget to talk about this part. And then I freaking forgot it.
I forgot, and then I just scrolled down to get to the next parts of my notes, and I was like, how did we not talk about this? That's the best thing ever! Yeah,
the fact that they had Namjoon sing at the end of Path, and first off, his singing is great. Like,
so good! I love his singing voice.
Yeah, and it feels so much, I don't know, raw and honest. I freaking love it so much.
Yeah, so we'll be playing this song as our outro. The last chorus, wait for it, guys, and just listen to the second best chorus after Jamais that you will hear in a while. Yeah.
Anyway, so, Hobi.
That picture. Okay. Oh,
These
cute.
pictures are all adorable. Hold on. This slideshow is freaking out a little bit. There, it should be behind your camera now.
Nice.
Okay, so Hobi. Shall I give his overview?
Yeah, before we start, I just want to say one thing.
Go for it.
I cannot look at Hobi's face and not smile. Like,
Yeah.
I just can't. Anyway.
No, I'm the
Go on.
same way. Like, we have the slideshow playing, and I'm just like, hee hee hee. Even when
Yeah.
he's being Jay.
Yeah. Like right now.
Yeah. All right, so our dear J-Hope, aka Hobi, well, his real name is Jung Ho-sok. So, Hobi grew up in Gwangju, which is another region in Korea, and he was part of a dance crew named Neuron, and they like won regional dance competitions, I believe. So
They were quite famous, yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty well known, and especially he was well known for his pop and lock dance style. And like I was watching his old vlogs and stuff, and he was just talking about how growing up he loved dance so much that he just often wouldn't study, and he would just leave the house early in the morning to go practice, to go dance. And it's just like, I think like Yoongi, he just knew, he's like, academics is not for me, that's not my strong suit. Dancing is where I can excel. That is where I can get ahead on my merit. And plus, I just freaking love dance. So, fun fact, he was briefly a JYP trainee until, like, because there was, like, a trainee partnership program between Big Hit and JYP. Probably because Bang PD-nim and Mr. JYP knew each other and they're friends. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so when that period ended, Hobi transitioned just to being a Big Hit trainee full-time. So when he joined Big Hit, he had all this dancing background, but he really had no education or experience in singing, rapping, making music. So there's a clip of him in American Hustle Life where he's talking about how he, in the beginning especially, felt distant from the other guys because they all had so much of a stronger educational experience, like background than him. But like even, and apparently they all like to have freestyle rapping sessions too. And so like if every time they did that, he'd still try to join in even if he wasn't very good. So I just found that very admirable.
He said something along the lines of, rather than trying to overcome the distance, I wanted to close the distance, which is a great mentality to have.
Agreed. So these days, he is the dance leader of BTS. So meaning he learns the choreo first and then teaches it to the other guys. And then he is just in charge of reviewing their dancing in performances and in music videos, in like award shows or whatever, and telling them how to like correct it and make it more perfect. So that is his background.
Yes.
Do you have any comments before I go into why I fucking love him?
Oh my god, same. But so I think probably all I would have to say is something that I found very interesting was how Tay said on American Hustle Life as well, how at the beginning, Hobi used to just joke around when he was dancing, when he was showing something, like it would just be kind of like an over the top, like showing off of something. And then in American Hustle Life, he really brought it and showed his skill. And Tay said something like, I think most people didn't realize how good he is, because in choreo, you can only shine so much, right? And you can't really show your own personal style because you're fit to a style that all the other members have to be able to do as well. And so I loved Hope on the Street for that, and the segments in American Hustle Life where we just really got to see just how talented he is. And I loved in American Hustle Life when all the like professional dancers were just blown away by how amazing he was. And I loved that.
Have you ever seen that comment? I don't remember where it's from, but Namjoon's just saying, like, the way Hobi moves is like water. Like, all of his, like, he doesn't move like a human. All of his muscles and joints are just connected, and he moves like water. And I'm like, what a good metaphor. Maybe that's why I should have picked Namjoon to write my song. Maybe I messed up there.
I think the most impressive thing for me with Hobi's dance is his isolation. So the way that he can move certain aspects of his body and keep other aspects of his body in a different place. So it looks like you are isolating one part of your body away from the rest of it. And he does it so easily, like all the time, the way that he can move his chest or his arms or his head, and just the sharpness that he has with it. It takes so much skill to be able to do that.
You know what it does? It takes so much skill and so much practice. And
yes,
that is a great segue into just me wanting to talk about the fact that he is such a perfectionist and he is so hardworking. He has such an incredible work ethic because he understood. Again, I think all of our 7 favorite men have to be considered in the context that they come in. They come from a country that right now has a 10% unemployment rate for youth. So it is, and there is such high competition in Korea over jobs, over getting into the college of your choice and getting set up for a good future. And in that context where your parents just want the best for you and want you to succeed in the most surefire way, to be Hobi and say, that's not for me, I'm not good at that, I don't want to do that, I want to dance. That is where I'm passionate, and that is where my hard work will pay off. I'm not a lazy person, I just want to focus my abilities and my attention in a different way.
I know this is really serious and stuff, but I just had that meme pop up into my head that was like, no, Dad, I want to dance. You know what I mean?
Yes, that is Hobi.
I also wanted to just talk about how amazing and grateful I think we all are to Hobi's mum and just how awesome she must be. And I mean, the song Mama makes me cry every time. I say this all the time about how many songs make me cry, but that song makes me cry a lot.
Listen, I don't think it's uncommon for ARMYs to just sob uncontrollably at any song that BTS made. I completely agree with you, though, about his mom must be incredible if he wrote such a beautiful song to her.
And he says in it, like, she went away from home, she took on multiple jobs to be able to pay for this, and my dad didn't want me to do this, but she just put her foot down and made sure that I was able to do this. And just respect. And especially because Hobi even says in this song, like, I'm sorry that it took me so long to realize how much you've done for me. And so even at the time, like, she wasn't, like, he probably, when you're young, like, you don't really realize how much parents do for you and things like that. And so you're not really grateful about it, like, in the way that you should be. Just, it's kind of expected because they're your parents, you know. But she just must be an incredible woman, honestly. I have a lot of admiration for her. Yeah.
I like how you say that as this picture cycles back through. Yeah. No, I agree completely. You made me emotional talking about that.
Yeah. And just the way, to make you more emotional, the way that he's like, you don't have to worry anymore and you can smile because now I'll be the one taking care of you.
Can I just say, I am so glad that BTS make music about subjects outside of I love you, I miss you, I want you, I'm rich.
Yes. Honestly, like, as a personal story of mine, like, so I'm a musician, as I've said before, and I like to write songs. And I stopped for a long time. And I used to feel like I had to write every song about love, and I just didn't get any inspiration. Like, there's only so many times you can write about love, and, like, is it really that big of a deal? Like, it's just like every song that I wrote was about how you fall in love with somebody, or like you break up and you're heartbroken, or blah blah blah. And I just felt so forced, like, because I just didn't feel like I had any other option. And then finding BTS like has made me realize how many other things I can actually talk about in songs. Like, it just doesn't have to be that simple about just talking about love, about talking about dancing and going to the club. And you really can put your heart and soul into any type of song that you want to make. And I really appreciate them for making me realize that again.
And you know what else? If you think about it, like the most of the songs you hear on the radio are romantic love, but that is only one facet of love. You can love people in your family. You can love your friends. You can love your pets. You can love what you do. So you can, like, I still think love is the most interesting and rewarding thing you can feel, but it doesn't have to be about another person, and it certainly doesn't have to be romantically.
Yes. So JK said something about Namjoon in this regards, that I think it was JK who said that Namjoon told him that he didn't have to write, like, he could talk about himself from a secondary perspective as if he was talking to another person. So it didn't have to be like, rather than trying to write a song about yourself, you can write a song. Oh no, it was Jimin.
Oh, sing it to yourself.
Sing it to yourself as if you're another person. And like,
I love that.
Right? And that makes me think again of like all the different ways that you can write songs about love, and you can frame it as a love song, but you could be talking about something completely different. And they always do that in their music. And like Fake Love, for example, the way that they distance another version of themselves to write a song, I feel like that just would make it so much easier to find inspiration. It's genius.
Well, I agree, because then you're actually writing about reality instead of what you think is palatable for the audience to hear. I rail against the idea that there is a certain selection of music that people enjoy listening to, and that is what you have to cater to. I think people end up being captive audiences to what is available for them to consume. Doesn't mean they can't explore new things. People like when something is fresh.
Yes.
So this is me going back to radio a little bit. So let's just... Okay, so back to BTS. Or back to Hobi. What were we
back to Hobi.
We went on too many tangents.
Okay,
I have one.
Talking about his mum.
Yeah. Okay, I have one. So did you notice that, well, I'm sure you did, that like Yoongi, Hobi, J-Hope, put a lot of thought into his name. His stage name.
Yes.
So, like, from what I know, he said somewhere that he was playing around with and like trying to figure out what to make a stage name, and he was talking about it with BangPDNim, and they were like, he wanted it to have the letter J in it and to have like the Ho syllable from Hosok.
Yes.
And so like they just kept playing around and trying to find something for, you know, to work there, and then they thought of the word hope. And like he says that it's like, well, when you think of Pandora's box and this fable of how Pandora opened the box, and when all the evils and everything in life came out, the only thing left was hope, and so that's what he wants to be. And it really resonated with him, that idea that in a world filled with so much struggles and hardships for everyone, he wants to make the conscious effort to be everyone's hope and inspiration.
Yeah, and I went back over Hope World this week to listen to that. Oh, it's amazing. So great. But yeah, I went back over it and all the lyrics and things, and I think he really addresses everything surrounding his name in that mixtape. And the first point is that he just wants to be somebody who makes people happy. And so I have written some lyrics here that I found. So it became my desire to want to give meaning. So all you have to do is, oh, my slide is the wrong way. So all you have to do is receive it. And so he's saying like, once he found this name, it kind of became his life. And he decided, I feel like he decided from that moment, like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring hope to people, and I'm going to make people smile. And so his whole outlook on life shifted, and he became very focused on making people happy and having a smile on his face. And that's an amazing thing. And how much
What is this
change...
picture?
Oh my God. Accurate though. That's basically what I'm saying right now.
And here's Jay.
Yeah. But so, yeah, this is still part of the first point of like, I feel like him coming up with that name and trying to fulfill the message behind it really shaped the person that he is today. And it was such a pivotal moment in his life, because we know him as our sunshine, our hope, our like reason to feel happy, to smile. He brings up the mood for everyone, and he's kind of adapted to this name. And I wouldn't say it's like, because I don't want this to seem like I'm saying he's acting in a certain way, because I don't think that. I just feel like
I think it's a mentality. Yeah, it's a mentality that he chose to have. And like, he even said somewhere, he was being interviewed somewhere, and he was like, I have chosen to smile when life is hard, because when I'm smiling, I can't feel sad.
Yeah. And I mean, he talks a lot about it in his mixtape of, I just chose to be a piece of peace. So
I love that
if
song.
I can be, that's my favorite. If I can be, he says something like, if I can be a ray of light for someone, or, you know, a help to someone, like, that's what I want to be. And I want to be able to make people smile and to make people happy and to help them when they're feeling down. And it's just such a sweet thing that he's able to do. And then the other side, the point two of that is how much pressure that is, how much burden that is, and how hard that is. And he talks about this in Hope World as well, of especially in Daydream, and I'm not sure which the other one was now, where he talks about this. It might be Hope World. He talks about how, like, I want to cry in peace. I want to get drunk and party with my friends and, you know, go crazy. And I can't do any of those things. And I can't be sad. Because he's a role model, and he's hopeful, and he's happy. And so he doesn't get to do that. And that honestly makes me so sad.
Yeah.
But it's
one can only hope that they get to do it privately, at least sometimes.
Yeah. And I think that that's the positive and negative of this way of thinking, because if it was all doom and gloom, like he never gets to do anything he wants to do and blah, 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 then I would feel a lot more sad. But I think it's the fact that this is what he wants. He wants to be happy. He wants to be hopeful. And he gets to experience the good too, you know?
Agreed. And that's also what he sings about in Airplane Part 2.
Yeah.
Something else I wanted to bring up is the fact that he is a sunshine, and his ability to be lighthearted and silly and foolish, and to just like, his energy is infectious. Like, you can't not watch him and not find yourself smiling and wanting to participate in his silliness, because he does it so unabashedly. And you're like, yeah, I want to be like that too. That seems like so much fun. Except in this picture right here where he looks very angry.
Yeah. I mean, like, for me, I find it very hard to embarrass myself. Like, I try not to take myself too seriously, and I don't think that I am a very serious person, but I couldn't be just completely out there and not care about how I was portrayed or how I came across, or if I did something completely stupid, I would feel embarrassed about it. And I just admire that so much about him, that he honestly doesn't care. He will walk around making stupid noises, and
I love his little cutesy stupid noises.
They're my favorite thing. Like, when I watched the most recent Run episode, I honestly watched his sound effects like over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, because they were just everything. And just things like that, like he'll be on the red carpet and he'll start dancing, or he'll be in an interview and he'll just be silly and sing. And do you remember that one when he started singing and then Namjoon was like, I'm sorry, he's a rapper?
Yeah. Well, like I'm thinking of when they were on the Stephen Colbert show, or it's not the Stephen Colbert show. What is it? The Tonight Show with Stephen Colbert now? Is that what it's called?
I don't know what the name is. I don't.
Whatever. It's like the one where they ended up doing like the Beatles spiff. But like when they were interviewed beforehand, and Stephen Colbert asked like, "Oh, well, do you guys like any Beatles songs?" And then Namjoon was like, "Hobi, take it away," and Hobi just started singing like "Hey Jude," and I just love how they all joined in, and like then the band that's in the studio started to play it, and you can see Stephen Colbert's face turning red because it like caught him off guard. And Stephen Colbert is known for being silly and being out there, and like to know that this caught him off guard, he was like, "Oh my god," made me like die laughing. I loved it so much.
Yeah, and it's just so great because if you don't know someone like that personally, you're just like, what is happening? But then like when you know to expect it, it's just so funny. And I think it's similar with Jin, how he is often silly to like brighten the mood and to make everyone feel at ease, and I love that he's able to do that. But I think a lot of the time as well, he's just so silly and playful. And even when you see them in like more laid back settings that aren't interviews, like the Bon Voyages or things like that, he's just the same. And like there was have you watched the recent Run episode? You haven't, have you? No.
Don't ask me how many I have to catch up on.
I'll try not to be too spoilery, but they had a conversation about how Hobi is just never quiet. And they were saying, at first I thought he was doing it because he didn't like awkward silences, or like he wanted to brighten the mood and stuff. But then I realized he just doesn't shut up. Like he's just talking and making noise all the time. And that's just him. And I just adore that about him. Like, like with his, when he's choreographing and he's like, ba, 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 ba. Like he's just always making sounds. And
well, can I just say for that to me makes more sense, because I know like you're supposed to count like 1, 2, 3, 4 and like whatever. If I was in his shoes, I wouldn't say numbers, first off because that requires thinking. It's just easier to go ba ba ba, like that's what you want to do. That's the best way that you communicate what it is that you want people to do. So moving away from the silly side, unless you have anything else you wanted to add about that. 1 second, let me check my notes. Oh, I love that he's afraid of everything, and his reactions to being startled are so over the top.
So over the top.
I get it. When you allow yourself to fully indulge in your reaction, it helps you be less afraid. But at the same time, like, the smallest thing will set him off, and it's just, like, not equivalent, not proportional.
Yeah, I love that too. Like, do you remember that video where they all were forced to watch one of those videos where it has like a jump scare in it? It's like an old Bangtan bomb, and everyone else was like, okay, or they did a little like that. And Hobi was the only one who like fully got scared, like fell out of his chair and hit his leg on the table, and it was just so funny. But so the thing I wanted to move on from this is how, even though he has this side and he's so playful and so much fun and so energetic, he has this capacity to be so serious and so like dedicated, and he's a very great leader as well. He's able to be very on point.
Don't they call him like the vice president? Like if Namjoon's the leader, he's the second one in command. Yeah.
And Namjoon said that Hobi kind of makes up for all the things he's not so good at. So he's kind of like the leader behind the scenes. I think that's what they've said before about him.
I love that.
Yeah. Like Namjoon is very much the face and the one who kind of presents things and takes charge of their shows and getting them ready and motivated and things like that. But then in the back, it's like Hobi who's like, okay, you need to do this and you need to do this and how are you feeling? And just, yeah, it's great.
It's just more proof that you need all 7 of them to make it work.
But yeah, I just love how serious he is and how much he appreciates and puts into his craft. Like how and you really see it when the 2 things that I can think of. First of all, when he's monitoring their performances or when he's telling them what they need to do, he's very much like, okay, so you here, you need to do this, and right here, you have to come in and do this right here at this count, and okay, right, so gather up, remember that you have to go over here. Like, he's very much in the zone, and he's just such a great teacher, I guess.
He's very good at the details. Like, he doesn't just say, you should go work on being better at dancing. Good luck. He's I will help you step by step. Do this, 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 and this. Here's how it works.
Yes. And the other thing that I really
it makes
wanted
him
to point
reliable.
out, so reliable, yeah. The other thing I wanted to point out was that episode where he goes in to teach the trainees or to monitor them.
For like that other show.
Yeah, where they're doing fake love and he goes in and do you know what I loved so much about it? Is of course we know our Hobi as bright and sunshine and just so likable and so easy to talk to and could make anyone feel comfortable. But when he went into that show, it was very much business as normal. You have a competition to win. You're going to do our song and I want to make sure you're doing it justice. So I'm not going to go easy on any of you. I'm going to monitor you. I'm going to tell you exactly how you need to improve. I'm not going to be mean about it, but I'm going to be very serious about it because this is a serious thing. And I just loved that we got to see that side of him so much.
Me
because
too.
he's not just like, a lot of people are just like, oh yeah, J-Hope, he's silly and goofy and jokes around all the time and is sunshine. But he's a lot more. Like, he also has this really great professionalism and he really believes in people and he wants people to be the best that they can be. And if that means him being serious and stern and like not taking it easy on others and telling them the truth so that they can improve, then that's what he's going to do.
Girl, preach. I adore everything you just said, and that is what I really relate to. I love the fact that he's such a perfectionist and that he's so serious about getting to the goal. I think he is one of, well, they all are reasons why they succeeded, but his strict adherence and discipline to perfecting their choreo and to making sure that he taught them what it was supposed to look like has been such a strength for them. There is no laziness in that group. They all reaffirm for each other why it is important to work so hard and that it is attainable to reach the kind of perfection that they get to in choreo. It's just crazy.
Yeah. And honestly, like, if they didn't have somebody like that making sure that their choreo was so on point, then like maybe they wouldn't be so skilled as they are now. Because one of the things that people often point out about BTS is how on point they are, to the fact that every hand movement is in the right position. They are all doing the exact same thing at the right moment. And I think that a lot of that is because of Hobi, because of the way that he teaches and he monitors, and they just really benefited so much from his dedication.
Well, think about it. Like, let's say they didn't have someone like him. They would still have dance teachers, right? They would still have somebody who was in charge of teaching them the choreo. But that teacher is not around for the practice all the time. Only the members are. So it is only from within that you can have that kind of discipline and that kind of like ridiculous pursuit of perfection. It has to come from within. And if you didn't have someone like Hobi, they would just be like, okay, it is what it is. Like, here's as best as we can.
And the other thing about it is, like, a teacher, like, they're there to teach, but they don't really care how well they do. Like, of course they might have an affinity to the group. They might like them. They might want them to do the best, but it's not going to be to the same magnitude as how you want yourself to be perfect, because and yeah, like if especially like some people are much better than others at seeing it, and I just respect him so much. And I have two quotes in the back of my head that I've just thought of that I wanted to talk about. One of them is when Namjoon is talking about, or when they're all talking about how Hobi almost left the group, and how Namjoon went to it might have been Bang PD, who went to talk to him and said, we need him. Like, we won't make it without him. And I think it really goes to show just how valued he was and how important to the team he was. And the other quote is, I'm not sure where it comes from, but recently I heard that somebody said that every idol group needs a J-Hope.
Wow.
And yeah, I agree, because he's got it all. He's got so much stage presence. He's got so much work ethic. He is great, like, at easing the tension. He's so likable, and he's glue. Like, he holds everyone together, and he was born to be on stage.
Agreed. Agreed. Something else I wanted to say. Speaking of his dancing, I just wanted to say that I loved that in Boy Meets Evil that they showcased his ability to dance. That entire music video was him going to town to the point where he, destroys the concrete because his dancing is that impactful. I loved it. And then the way they what was it? I think it was Mama 2016, where he was on stage with Jimin, and Jimin's like the mashup with Lie. Still one of my favorite things I've ever seen them do. It is so hauntingly beautiful. And the first time I ever saw that, I was blown away that they could think of something like that, considering, I don't know, where like their background, like that they could go from strict hip hop to this point of contemporary rap, dance. Just this, I just love it. I like rewatched it yesterday and was drooling over how incredible it is. It's been 4 years since that thing came out, and I'm still enamored with it. Yeah.
I mean, I get a bit annoyed about the camera of that performance, but it's still incredible. Yeah, there's just certain bits where they miss like really significant movements, and that kind of annoys me, but it's fine. Yeah. But I mean, we'll get more into this when we get to Jiminy next week, but I just love the different dynamics that they bring. Like when they do the same dance routine, how one of them is completely inspired and like trained, and kind of the core of the movement is from hip hop, and how in the other, the core of the movement is contemporary. And they're both able to do the same types of routines, but you just see it from such a different perspective. And I love that contrast that they have between the two of them, from where they came from as dancers initially. And it really is highlighted in that performance of just how they can do the same thing, but just in such unique ways.
Yeah, I have never seen any other group, any other person be able to replicate what they made there.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on. I also love, let's see what's the best thing to talk about next. Let's talk about his rap and his producer skills, like his talent musically. I think that's a good one to move on to after dance. So what are your opinions on kind of his rap, his skill, where he's come? And
I think I've mentioned this last week. I love how melodious his rap is. I appreciate it as something that I don't often see, or I can't think of any other examples right now of someone who raps like that, because I don't speak Korean, so I can't appreciate the language in the same way a native speaker could. What I can appreciate, though, is what I hear. And if what I hear is really catchy and makes me want to sing along in whatever way I can, then that is a good song.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think that his rap is just so different from anything. And I find it really hard to explain, but I think your use of like melodic rap is very true to form. Like I think his flow is great, and I've kind of talked to you about this before, and maybe I shouldn't use the explicits that I've used when talking to you, but
whatever. We've gone in very inappropriate
True.
tangents on this episode already. What's one more?
Okay, so honestly, the way I've always kind of viewed Hobi's rap, and not in everything, but I think he has a very interesting way of playing with build-ups. And I basically described to Yami how I feel like his verse in basically sounds like what an orgasm feels like. Because it's like
is she wrong though?
And then it's like come up, and you want it to come, and you want it to come, and then it's like bam, and you're like, it was everything I needed. And I feel like that's like one of the best ways to describe his skill. Is it just teases you, and it leaves you wanting more and more, and it builds you up, and it gets you to that place, and it's just so creative. And I think you were saying to me that DJs use that technique a lot, and they do, like with their like it happens a lot in music.
It's a build up and then you get the drop.
Yeah,
which is what everybody wants, but he does it with his voice, which is so much harder.
Right? Like he manages to do that with just his voice, and I think it's so clever and just so different, so unique. And I love like the tone of his voice as well, how it's a lot more high than the others. Like he can go lower as well, and he has in certain songs, but just the pitch of it. And the other thing I wanted to mention was how great of a singer he is. Like he could have easily been a singer. He could have started off as a singer and like took vocal training and become an idol who sings. So he really is the golden young, as some people say.
Aww,
he just can do it all.
I like that. Yeah. I will say I really like what his voice sounds like. I think it's a very unique sound, and he's really fun to mimic. Like even when he like has that like raspy, high pitched voice, that's really fun to like mimic when you're singing his songs. Yeah,
because a band that I really like that probably nobody will have heard of is Biffy Clyro. They're a Scottish band. They're like an indie rock band. They're really great. But the thing that I love so much when I'm listening to their music is they have a really thick Scottish accent that you really hear. And it's so much fun to like emulate and try to like do yourself. And I feel like it's the same with Hobi and the way that his words come out, and you can just like put on that voice and it's just great. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing I also wanted to mention is that he has such a funky style. Like,
yes.
The way it comes across in his music too, but also the way he dresses, the way he puts beats together. Yes. Like all the music that he made for Hope World, especially Daydream, is so funky and it's so unapologetically him, and it inspires me to, be my own style, because you can appreciate it even if it's not your exact style.
Yeah. That was actually going to be my next point with his like producing, because I feel exactly the same. Like I feel like he just came out of the 80s. Like it's like an old school hip hop mixed with funk, and then like his studio and the cover art of his album, like it's all so 80s and so funky and so like, and I love it so much. It's just,
well, you know what else it is? 80s was a time of it's the time of nostalgia, right? It was a time of peace, prosperity. It was a good decade. So I think it's common for people to think back on it. I would actually expect that more from his parents than from him, but maybe it is his influence of his parents on him.
I mean, all I think of when I think of the 80s is the AIDS crisis, but I think that was the 80s. So
okay.
That's a random point, but when you said, oh, it was a happy time, I was like, oh.
Okay, I'm generalizing here. I don't know anything.
I just made a very loud bang. But yeah, I just, like, his kind of style reminds me of, like, I don't know, just all those, like, big platformed boots and bright orange and smiley faces, and
It's a good time. He is a good time.
He is a good time.
Can I want to make a detour and talk about how he can transition from Hobi to Jay really quickly, and it is so hot. I have two examples in mind. One being the infamous hip thrust and like splits during Bepse, during the Love Yourself, Speak Yourself tours.
Yes,
Like,
I know the one you are referring to.
Well, how many fan cams do we have of him doing that at every concert until it's become like required, where everyone's like waiting, like, all right, give it to us, we need to record it. And then when they were in doing the concert in Saudi Arabia, and he didn't, and we were like, yeah, I guess it makes sense that he didn't do it, but okay. And then if you remember, Namjoon did it. Because he forgot they were supposed to be trying to be more PG-13, and he was like, nope, we're going all the way.
Yeah, I think, like, I've kind of mentioned this briefly, but his stage presence is just everything. And the one I always think of, like he's so sexy on stage. Like, I feel like, well, I don't know, it's hard to say, because actually when you think about it, they all have different elements. But with Hobi, like, no, the moment I think of is when that water cascades and he just kind of throws his arms back, and it's the coolest shit I've ever seen.
Have you seen his vlive or somewhere where he talked about that he loves that moment because he feels like Poseidon?
Yeah, Poseidon.
yeah. I'm like, yeah, I would feel like that too. Where in the moment, it's you showering the crowd with water, and it's your cannons, and his face.
He just has this way of just, like, he's not human on stage. He's just not. He's this being that just radiates charisma. That's the word. He's so charismatic. He's so sexy, and he knows exactly what he's doing and how to pull it off, and he keeps it up throughout the whole thing. You're drawn to him.
That's what she said.
Stop. But I mean, I say, like, I literally just described an orgasm 5 minutes ago. But no, I feel like the thing I was gonna say was how everyone talks about how you always leave a concert a J-Hope bias, because he just draws you in and traps you in his fly trap, and that's it.
I have something soft to say. I don't know if you were part of the fandom at this point, or if you saw it, but so his song during Love Yourself was Just Dance. And there's like a part near the end of the song in the concerts that would be like a couple of measures that they added in.
J-Hope.
Well, it was just instrumental for a very long time, and it was just him moving around. And I went to concerts, and it was just instrumental. And then I think it was when they were doing the concerts it was somewhere in Asia, before Hong Kong. I can't remember where it was, but that was, I think, where they started the J-Hope fan chant. Am I wrong? No, I think that's what it was. And
so he wasn't expecting it?
No, and like there's a fan cam somewhere of the very
I've seen it.
Where it
I
happens
just didn't
where
know.
and he just takes out his earpiece, and he has the shock on his face, and then and then he's overjoyed at the fact that people love him so much that they created this chant on the spur of the moment to convey to him the only way they could how much they care for him. And he's so happy. And
that makes that clip even more amazing, because I've seen it before, but I didn't know it was the first time. And oh my god, I have to go find it again so that I can rewatch it.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly where it was, because
I bet it was Brazil.
No, because they only went to Brazil during Speak Yourself. Yeah, they didn't go during Love Yourself. And this was like, so Love Yourself was Seoul, and then North America, and then Europe, and then there was a break, and then it was in Asia. And it was somewhere in Asia where the fan chant started, and all of us were like, why didn't we think to do that? So armies everywhere were like, all right, well, now it's a thing, officially part of every single time he sings the song. And then from then on, everyone like chanted his name as if, you know, it was the last thing we were ever going to do.
Yeah, I love that so much. And honestly, I'm just so happy that I feel like Hobi's getting the recognition that he should nowadays. Like, I feel like he was often overlooked, and that makes me so sad because he's just everything. He deserves it all. He deserves all the praise.
He does.
Yeah.
I think he was probably overlooked just because he's different.
Yeah, agreed.
He doesn't fit the mold, and he, the entire time, has been unapologetically himself.
Yes.
And that's the part that I also just admire so much. Me
too. And so, talking of soft things, so I had a few soft things that I wanted to talk about. And one of them is how, you know, on Weverse, what makes me laugh so much, when he goes on Weverse and then you look at the translations on Twitter and things like that, every single time all the translators use some variation of with extra ego or said really, really cutely, or like...
Yeah, and they're like, we don't know how to translate, how to convey to you how cute this was.
Yeah. And I remember him saying, like, there's a thing about him how he didn't like doing it and he didn't think it was manly, but over time, he really enjoys doing it nowadays because he knows how happy it makes people. And I love his replies on Weverse. I think each of them, we should do this a segment one time where we talk about how each of them talk on Weverse, but it just makes me laugh so much how every time it's Hobi, it's like he's saying this really adorably, or this has a baby voice added to it. And we've got Mickey here as well.
Yeah. Or he does sound effects.
Yes.
I think over time he's just accepted that this is the way he likes to express himself, and it's to a massive community of people who are like, yeah, we're eating that shit up. Keep it coming.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait for you to watch the newest Run episode because his sound effects on it are so great.
I may just skip all the ones I haven't seen and go to it.
You should, just because you should hear Hobi's sound effects in it. They are hilarious. Oh my god, and there's a really funny bit in it as well that you can't understand unless you
speak
are
Korean.
Told. Yeah, but like they talked about it on Twitter, so once you watch it, let me know and I'll tell you.
Oh, okay, all right.
If you don't, if you do know what I'm talking about, it's the moment where they all can't stop laughing, and nobody knows why. Yeah.
Oh, I think I saw it because it's like Jimin's flower or something, and it's because it's like something about a dick.
Yeah, it says. I think it sounded like dead skin off a penis.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that, and then they all just can't stop laughing, and then Jimin's like, I bet none of this makes the show. And then literally the Run editors put in, you thought wrong, or something like that. Oh my god.
Part of me wishes I could be part of their editing team, because their entire like team that does that are all armies, and they are like, they get such a massive kick out of putting BTS through all of this stuff.
And do you know how annoyed it makes me at the fact that like things like carpool karaoke, like that would have taken like 4 or 5 hours to film, but we only got 15 minutes. I want the rest of the awkward journey in the car and all the outtakes because I want to see every single second of that shit.
Me too.
And I wish we could.
Me too. But, speaking of carpool karaoke, and I'm going to go on a tangent really quick, I just want to say how proud I am of James Corden for understanding that the hilarity of BTS is not when you make them speak English, it's when you catch them speaking Korean.
And you caption it. I just have it in my head that they did not have any idea that their Korean would be captioned, so they were just shit talking, and then when they watched it, they were like,
what?
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm really
That's
hoping
canon.
that happened too. And I get this feeling that it happened because I'm sure their staff was told, hey, we're gonna keep this audio in, do you mind? And their staff were like, have at it.
Yeah. Oh my god. And also I just really want to commend James Corden for showing their vocal and rapping abilities, how great their music is, their energy and like just positivity and things, their dance moves, and how hilarious they are, all in one tiny 15-minute segment. Like,
and you know what else? So, you know how we just talked about how you had all those shitty interviewers in the past who were like, who do you like in America? What's a Western artist you like? You don't ask that question. It's easier to show it. Like when he had them pick songs and they played and sang along in the car. That is how you, first of all, how you show what BTS like to listen to and what they know. And also that is how you connect people instantly around the world, because you're like, oh hey, this song is just as popular in Korea as it is in America. Suddenly the world feels so much smaller, and you have just a little bit of insight into what it might be like to be a Korean person growing up.
I just love like all the intricacies of it, of how James Corden was able to just, the way he talked, like the way he said things like mochi, I love a mochi, like, you know what I mean, like just being really like warm and welcoming. And then when you watch the dancing bit, and he just gives Hobi a hug just out of nowhere, like just all of it, just how comfortable he made them, and how they talked afterwards about how comfortable he made them. And you know what, like, he makes me proud to be a Brit, and thank you, James Corden, because we love you.
He did good. He did so good. And also, I wanted to say that the hide and seek segment of the show, what a beautiful and hilarious way to showcase the fact that they are very creative, they're very funny by themselves, and that they are very competitive. And everything that happened did not have any need for English. You're playing hide and seek. Now go. Yeah. And you know, if again, back to those shitty interviewers who'd be like, what's a US actor you like? Well, here's them interacting with one in real time, and fucking Ashton Kutcher throwing Jin over his shoulder, or him carrying Jimin. Like, those urges to carry them, I feel them all the time. I want to carry all of BTS. I want to hug them and never let go. And the fact that Ashton got to live my dream, I am both happy and jealous as all hell that he got to do that, and I still haven't. Yeah,
and I mean, I watched this and the Jimmy Fallon show. I was in Spain at the time, so I watched them at 4:00 in the morning, like I had to cover my mouth because I was laughing so hard, and it was 4 a.m. and I couldn't wake anybody up. But it was just so funny. And like Jin's just complete laugh of just utter shock at what happened, and then his face is just like...
I just like the part where Ashton is carrying Jin over his shoulder, and Jin is holding onto his picture. He's like, I took a picture, it's coming with me.
Oh, it was everything. Okay, yeah, now that we've talked about Carpool and everything else, and
back to Hobi.
Like, James Corden, never betray us. Never.
No, please don't.
That would break my heart.
Because if you're loyal to ARMY, ARMY's loyal to you.
Right? This is right. Quickly go back to ARMY tangent, because I need to say this.
Actually.
Yes, that's even better. Did you see that I was getting heated before you even changed the slide?
I think I know what you're about to say. Please say it.
What people genuinely don't understand, and why people are so stupid these days, is, do they not understand that if they just were on BTS's side and just showed them decency and respect, even if they didn't want to, they would be so much better off? They would get so many followers. They would get so many interactions on their tweets. They would get people sending them gifts, because, like, are people that dumb, or are people that just completely xenophobic or judgmental that it's worth more just to shit on them or not be fair to them over literally, like, having an army beside you? Like, are you stupid?
Okay, well, someone's fiery now. Okay, let me respond to you. I think I know what it is. I think it's that whole thing that I was talking about before about how there are certain topics, there are certain areas, there are certain artists that are pre-approved because we know that they're going to be successful with listeners, and therefore the radio stations, the interviewers, whoever else that interact with them in that way will make money off of their interaction with BTS. When you explore outside the norm, outside of everything that's already been done and expected, you then run the risk of not making money. And most of these places do not want to run that risk. And the thing is, it doesn't have to be as risky as these businesses think it is to ask BTS questions outside of the norm, to interact with them in a way that's out of the norm, to actually establish a relationship with BTS and speak about it publicly. It really isn't that big a deal.
Yeah, but this is the thing that I just don't get, because ARMY is literally the biggest fan base in the world. And I mean, I feel like a lot of it must just come down to stubbornness of, I'm not gonna be a fan of this stupid boy band, or
it has to do with money. Nobody wants to sacrifice a surefire way of getting views and listens and making money.
I guess, and that's literally why they use ARMY to get all the views that they want, but then shit on BTS and don't give them shit, because then they're getting the benefit of both.
Yeah, and I don't agree with that, because I think there is more money to be had when you have ARMY on your side. Maybe people just don't believe how massive a fan base we are.
I think that is the case, because I think a lot of the time, like, I can't tell you how many people have never heard of BTS. How many people have never heard of Post Malone? How many people have never heard of Taylor Swift? How many people have never heard of Beyonce? But everyone I ask who's not an ARMY, they don't know BTS. Like, doesn't that tell you something? Like, and then people say to me, why aren't they played on the radio? Why have I never heard them on the radio? Or why have I never seen them on TV? Or, I mean, at least in the UK, or the people that I know, and that just blows my mind. Yeah, I just get very angry about it.
I know. Well, we have to save this discussion for a different video.
We do. Look forward to that one.
All right, so back to Hobi.
Yes.
I think we should wrap this up by saying things that we like about him rapid fire.
Okay, perfect. So.
Okay, you can start.
I'll start. Yeah. I love how much he's been working on his English to help.
Stop! Stop! That was literally my first one.
Oh my god! Well, snap! Same brain cell. Oh. What even did I just do? What was that movement?
I don't know, but I'll give you the brain cell back. Here, use it.
Okay, yeah, like, how amazing he sounded on all the interviews and talk shows from, like, the last few months. He's improved so much, and I was so proud of him. And you could just tell that he's really done it to try and help Namjoon in interviews. And the thing is, like, you could tell that it wasn't just him memorizing sentences, because a lot of them were very off the fly and long, and his accent was so great, and I was just so proud.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work to understand how to put together the phrases and words that you know into a new sentence. So it just... And
also, I just love how his voice goes all high-pitched and squeaky when he talks in English.
I have a story about that. So all of the Love Yourself tour, they all make ending comments at the end of every concert. And some of them will speak in English and some of them would speak with a translator, and it would just vary on the concert. But in every one that Hobi did, he made a point to speak in English. And then at their last concert that they did in North America in Citi Field, I was there. Like, when they're doing all of their closing comments and they get to Hobi, he was just like, even though I barely speak any English, and like everybody was dying laughing, he's like, I wanted to speak in English for this entire tour to connect with you. And it's just in that moment you're like, you're right, he did speak English everywhere, and it was really heartwarming.
Yeah.
Right? And none of us expected them to speak English. They don't need to. They could have spoken in Korean. They could have had a translator. They would probably would have expressed themselves better in Korean and, you know, made a more flowery phrase than what they were able to memorize in English. But the fact that they still tried meant so much, because it's crossing a barrier that is so hard to overcome. Language is really hard to overcome. And I think that's why we appreciate BTS so much, because they have.
Yes, exactly. They found a way, and it doesn't matter. But the fact that they want to go out of their way to just... And, you know, I think the thing that makes me so happy about it is they don't need to bridge the gap. We're very aware of how to benefit from translators. I've never pronounced it like that. From translators. And to wait like an hour for the vlive to be updated, and to read the lyrics, and to, you know, just appreciate it without our language. We're very used to doing that as international fans. So they really don't have to do that. But the fact that they choose to just means that they want to give something more. And they've gone out of their way. It means
that much. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why it's so special.
They went the extra mile, and we feel it, and we're like, you already have us, heart and soul.
Yeah.
Why do you need to make me emotional on top of that, right?
Once again, it just goes to show, like, and people from outside the fandom will be like, okay, so they learnt a bit of English, like, what does that matter? But when you're inside the fandom, like, you know that they don't have to do that. They really don't. They're doing that because they're choosing to do that as a way of connecting with us, and of helping us to understand and to connect with them more. And on top of all the other things they do and how busy they are. And
have you seen all of those, like, it's on their like the behind the scenes from their Euro tours, and all from the like US concerts, or from City Field, where they're practicing whatever they want to say in English, in Spanish, in German, in French. They're trying, and they repeat it over and over and over, because they're trying to get it down to a point where it's memorized by heart. So in the moment, when the spotlight's on them, when there's tens of thousands of people staring at them, they can remember that one phrase that they can say to communicate and to express themselves in the language of the people with them. It touches my heart so much, especially as someone who's multilingual. Like, I speak 4 languages, and the fact that I know how hard it is, and the fact that they still do it, it's just...
Honestly, as somebody who only knows, like, basic French and Spanish, I admire it so much, because honestly, it's so difficult for me to communicate in other languages, just because unless you're fluent, you have to kind of process it in your language and then figure out how it is in your brain, and then translate it and then say it, but you're not sure if it's 100% right, because you just have to kind of go on the moment, and it's really embarrassing, and you don't know if you're pronouncing it right, and you don't know if you're getting it right or if you're making a mistake. And it requires a lot of courage if you're not fluent in another language to try and communicate.
Courage. I think you've hit upon it. Even when especially when they're on those talk shows, on all their US appearances, in the moment, I'm sure they're terrified. And the fact that they speak anyway is so... It's so meaningful.
Okay, this is supposed to be rapid fire.
Sorry.
Your turn.
Sorry. I don't know if he still does this, but I know that they used to talk a lot about how Hobi would touch himself and, like, stroke himself when he was asleep, because, like, he would just,
you should have phrased that a little bit differently, because that sounded very wrong.
Well, I mean, I'm sure he does that too. He's a hot-blooded young man. But, like, he would stroke himself, like, while half asleep, because that's what his parents used. Yeah, that's what his parents used to do when he was going to sleep as a kid. And I just like how the idea of, like, you have these 7 people, these 7 men who barely know each other, all in one room, and they all have to learn how to deal with each other's weird habits. And his weird habit is he's just half asleep, going like this.
Yeah. Oh my god, I love it. I know a few people that do that, so it's just so
Oh,
funny
really?
to me. Yeah, I think it's quite a common thing that like when your parents used to do that when you were young, it's like a comfort thing when you get older.
Aw,
It's
that's
so
cute.
cute.
Okay,
But,
your turn. Your turn.
Okay, so I love his heart smile. Like the way it just changes shape into a heart. That's so cute. Like I don't know anyone else whose mouth changes into a heart when they smile.
No.
My heart. Okay, you go.
I love that it's become a meme that time in that BTS Run episode when they were in Canada and they were like staying in a house and they all had to wake up extra early in the morning to go do some like challenge where they had to, I think it was answer like guess lyrics of a song or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like you see him come out of the house and he can't open his eyes and he looks so asleep, and I'm like, I have never seen someone look the way I feel every morning. I cannot express to you how connected I felt to him in that moment, and he's just like, what do you want? And his eyes are like this tiny, and he's so done with everything.
And you can tell he literally just opened his eyes and zombie walked to the garden.
Yeah, so like I love that meme, and I love every time it comes back around in my timeline and it's like related to whatever. I'm like, yep, still relate to that.
I just honestly love it because, like, isn't it so great to see somebody in the morning? I don't know about you, but seeing somebody in the morning, like, whether it be family members or friends or something like that, I just love it so much because they just look so done, and it's just their most, like, vulnerable and raw state of mind. And just seeing him like that, it just made me love him so much. Oh, God. It was everything.
Yeah. Okay, your turn.
Okay, so I love how much he compliments the other members. Like, he's always got something nice to say about them. And I feel like he's so good for team morale and to lift everybody's spirits and just be like, hey, you did this really good, or look how great you look here, or... It's just so sweet. Like, if you haven't noticed it yet, like when you're watching things, just take note of how much he compliments people. I love
but also the reverse is true. They all can't stop complimenting him.
God,
and they think he's such a perfectionist and he's so amazing at everything, and I'm like, yeah, it's because he has this incredible work ethic. I'm sure he's incredibly hard on himself. And I'm sure that's also partially why they compliment him so much, to validate all the hard work that he puts in, because I'm sure he's his own worst critic.
I love the meme about how Sugar is so obviously a J-Hope bias.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's everything. It's so true. It's so true. Like, I feel like you can kind of pick apart which member is each of their bias, like kind of... off the top of my head, I can't, but like I feel like Namjoon is so obviously JK's bias, and Hobi is so obviously Yoongi's bias. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We should do that exercise at some point and think about it.
We should think about who would be each of their biases and bias wreckers. Yeah.
Okay, I have another one. Their song Otsukare Sama Deshita. Literally, I've never heard anything that... Like, this song makes me so incredibly happy, and it gets stuck in my head. So it was like that song, they created it specifically for the Japanese version of the muster. And I've never seen a studio version of it, so I'm quite mad about that, because I want it. And I remember that, like, when I first discovered it, I couldn't stop playing it. Like, it was just playing on repeat. And I found one of those videos on YouTube where it's like 10 hours of blah, blah, blah. And it was 10 hours of Otsukare. And I just listened to it. And it just kept going.
That's funny, because that literally came on my timeline either today or yesterday. And I hadn't seen it in a while. So that's funny that you brought it up. Also, I'd just like to say, we've just passed 0 o'clock here. So...
Aww.
Every time I look at the clock now and it passes 0 o'clock, I'm like, oh, nice. Okay, so...
Did you know what that means, by the way?
What means?
Otsukare sama deshita.
I have no idea, honestly.
It's Japanese for like good job, like you worked hard.
Aw.
It's like what you say at the end of a work day. Stuff like that.
That's really cute.
Yeah, it's a song about saying like you did well, good job. It's such an encouraging song. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to look at the lyrics. Like there's some video version of it on YouTube where like it's them performing it with like sing-along lyrics on the bottom. And because
That's
it's
so
Japanese, for me personally, that's easier to sing along to than Korean because Japanese is like syllables and Korean has a lot of round way of saying things that I'm still learning how to pronounce. So like it's so much fun for me to just sit there and like sing it with them. And I feel like it's kind of almost like a kiddie song. Like it's what you but I'm like, I'm the kid. Yeah, good job. I did a good job.
Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, it's the best.
Okay, your turn.
Okay, so what did I have? Oh, I love that he is such a great bridge between the Hyung and the Maknae line. Like, he's able to just interact with both in such a great way. I love that. Like,
I think
he could be in either.
He has very high emotional intelligence.
Yes, definitely.
I think that's needed. I think that's one of the ways he makes up for potentially a way that Namjoon isn't as good at.
Yeah, I mean...
Cause I'm conflicted in that because I also think Namjoon has a very high emotional intelligence.
Yeah,
but
I would say. I honestly...
I don't think Namjoon maybe expresses it as well. But again, this is just me hypothesizing. I obviously don't know that.
I suspect that Namjoon is actually an empath. Do you know what that is?
Mm-hmm. Where he feels the same emotions
that other people feel, yeah. And I am as well. I'm an empath, and I kind of have come to terms with it for a while now. But I feel like Namjoon is also one. And I mean, I feel like he is very able to understand the emotions of those around him, but maybe not able to comfort in the way that Hobi is. Like, I feel like Hobi provides that emotional opening up and hugs and, you know, that kind of thing that Namjoon finds difficult to do. Yeah.
I think that's accurate, and I think that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. Okay, are you next or am I next?
I think I'm next. His incredible performance during the Idol intro for MMA 2018, like where it was all traditional. His dance was incredible. His outfit was incredible. His wall of women and their it
didn't look real.
No, it didn't. I thought they were fake. I thought everything was fake. And then also how high off the ground it was, and like you know he's afraid of heights. And then like there's behind the scenes videos of like him practicing for it. And how hard he worked to perfect those acrobatic moves, because he literally jumps over his head with one hand. And
amazing.
He perfected it to the point where it looks effortless, and it literally looks like he's as light as a feather, and it's just easy. Like, he made it look so easy. That's how you know how much he practiced.
Yeah, I don't think I still don't think you've seen it yet, but in their
yes, I did.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
The MMA?
Yes.
Oh, nice. Yeah, the bit in where they're like, oh, he's like the Matrix, when he's like basically levitating on one arm.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I just have one more point written down for now, and that is his fashion. How fashionable is he?
Billy, that was my last point.
Well, let's talk about it together then.
Okay.
That man is just so on point with his fashion, and I feel like he's the type of person that like every morning he likes to really sit and consider of what he's going to wear and how he's going to put things together, and maybe not so much when he's training and but in terms of when he's going to the airport and when he's out shopping and buying clothes. I love
their airport fashion. Like,
yes,
it's my favorite, one of their favorite things that we get out of them. Like, they're like, we're on our own personal runway. Here's the outfits we chose for today.
Yeah, it's the best. I wish that we had a thing like that, where like there was a certain place that you would go quite regularly. I mean, I know it's for celebrities, but if there was like, okay, I'm going to specifically dress up for this occasion, like that would be cool. I would like that.
Granted, I will say it probably sucks that you're constantly photographed, because like if you have an ass crack of dawn like flight,
True.
I have been guilty of just literally rolling out of bed and going to the airport looking like death.
Oh my god, I look like death every time I go to the airport. I wear the comfiest, most baggy clothes, put my hair in a bun on the top of my head, and don't speak to anyone.
Yeah, and it's like you're preparing for something that is uncomfortable by trying to make yourself as comfortable as possible. In contrast, being stylish, attractive, any kind of, you know, beauty takes pain and discomfort. So they dress very nicely for the airport, and I feel bad for them, kind of, because I know that also meant that they had to wake up even earlier to make sure they looked good.
I bet a lot of the time they've gotten used to just waking up, rolling out of bed, sleeping in a car, then sleeping in a makeup chair while somebody gets them ready, and then getting dressed, and then they're ready.
I have a question. What must it be like to have your makeup done when you're asleep, or to be the makeup artist putting makeup on someone while they're asleep?
Well, they've got videos of it, haven't they? Like, I've seen a few videos where they're just like conked out in the chair, and the makeup designer is just getting their face ready for the day. But I think that honestly, when you work as hard as they work, you can sleep anywhere. Like, it does not matter where you are. If somebody's touching up your face, as long as you're in a chair, then it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, I also think they've probably worked with their same stylist for so long now that they're very comfortable with them. So they're just like, whatever, buddy. I gotta catch some Z's. Do your magic, please.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder how much, in terms of like hairstyling and makeup, they do for airports. Do you think it'd be like the same amount? Because I was just thinking, it's one thing having to do your fashion, but then imagine if you had to like also do your hair and your makeup and for the airport.
I bet you it's a decision made by Big Hit and their managers. Like, hey, is this gonna be a very big airport departure arrival? Like when they are coming back from America and Europe tours, and they're finally back in Korea, that's probably a big return.
Quickly, can we turn to Shade Room just for 1 second? I'm kind of run out of energy, but I just have one more rant.
All right, go for it. Squeeze your sponge of rage.
Stop crowding them at airports. Honestly, it's one of the things that gets me more angry than anything in the world. I cannot imagine, as somebody who doesn't like crowds, I cannot imagine how nightmare-inducing that scenario of trying to walk through an airport and having all the cameras in your face and all the people running around and just everybody on you. I get so angry at anybody who goes to the airports. Like, please stop. And yes, don't do it.
The thing is it never makes sense to me, because if you're one of those people who's doing the crowding, you can't see around other people. You're not going to get the, YN adventure that you think you are going to have. You're barely going to see that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because a lot of the time it's sasangs that are doing this, and any attention is good attention. Any proximity is good proximity. And there's nothing you can really do about that. It sucks, and there's not really much that Big Hit can do about it, because it's down to the airport and down to the laws. And I mean,
I've seen conflicting information, like people saying like, oh, well, these are actually children of very famous and influential and wealthy people, so they can't really say no. I don't know the inner workings of Korean culture and how all this works. If there's any K-armies that want to educate us, that would be really appreciated. Yes,
definitely. We'll change from Shade Room quickly to normal tangent, because I just have a funny story. So did you know that when BTS came to the UK, there was nobody at the airport? And I'm not saying this because I'm like, oh, we're so great here in the UK. the reason why there was nobody at the airport is because we're just too lazy to bother going, like, honestly. And that just makes me so happy as a Brit. Like, you know what? You stay home. It's raining outside. You don't want to go to the airport. Great. That means the BTS don't get crowded. Keep doing you, Brits. Love ya.
Yeah. I don't remember any like... Yeah, I don't remember anything happening every time they go to, like, the UK. So,
yeah,
that's good.
We're just really lazy and don't want to go out in bad weather, so...
I mean, I don't blame you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so on that note, our beloved J-Hope, Hobi, Jung Ho-seok, we love you.
We love you so much. You make me so happy. Why am I feeling emotional all of a sudden?
Because that's what he does. That's his way of, out of all of them, he makes me so emotional by simply being himself.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful way of phrasing it. He really is just such a light in what otherwise tends to be such a dark and difficult world. Like, you just look at him and that's enough.
I wish I could tell him that his hope to be that has come true, that he is what he's trying to be, that he's succeeding. I hope he hears that.
It was all worth it, and yeah, me too. So on that really soft note, let us end our episode. We've had a lot of emotions this week, but I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode, and look out for our video on radio, and we'll be back next week with another episode and lots of new fun segments, and and we've got your bias next week.
Yeah, we do. We'll get to that. All right. Have a good week, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah. What's up? You know, time flows like stars. 시작은 Eminem, 가비 on 에픽하 따라하는 걸 넘어 내 랩을 적고 새기다 보니까 벌써 어느새 내가 홍대 그때 내가 싼 온통 다 건데 But we don't know the future 쉼없이 꿈꾸던 중 날 묶어버린 현실의 덜 그 정신의 덜 뜨거운 가슴은 차가운 머리에 져버렸어 그렇게 내 선택이 옳다며 맹신하던 그 와중에 천산지 양만지 모를 그것이 말을 해 랩 제대로 해볼 생각 없냐고 Yes or no 망설일 시간은 없다고 더 바보는 되기 싫었던 난 이곳에 왔고 3년이 지나갔어 So the earth is long, life is short But now from earth is life, life is sports Do it on 난 달라졌을까 다른 길을 택했다면 멈췄어 뒤돌아봤다면 Oh hey yeah hey yeah 난뭘 보게 될까 이 길의 끝에서 내가 서 있을 그곳에서 Oh hey yeah hey yeah 시간이 흐르고 2013년 연습생으로 있었지 3년은 내 모습은 고등학생에서 어느새 커버린 어린이가 됐어 욕심의 새치가 많아지고 그만둔 친구들은 하나둘씩 갈라지고 가족 없이 난 외롭게도 서울에서 만난 세 번째 봄 데뷔가 코앞이면 걱정이 없어질 줄 알았어 다르실 게 없는 현재에 난 눈을 감았어 현실은 달랐고 주위에서 날 말려도 빛도 안 보이는 터널들을 나 홀로 걸었어 혼자인 줄 알았는데 알고 보니 일곱 맨발이 아닌 방탄이란 신을 신고 앞으로 나가야지 한 발 더 새롭게 떠 서울에서 맞은 네 번째 봄 난 달라졌을까 다른 길을 택했다면 멈췄어 뒤돌아봤다면 Oh hey yeah hey yeah 뭘 보게 될까 이 길의 끝에서 내가 서 있을 그곳에서 Oh hey yeah hey yeah 2010년의 해 내 걸음은 서울로 향하네 그저 춤이 좋아 시작했던 내가 이제 무대 위에 섰네 그 사이에 많은 고통과 상처들을 이겨내고 날 갖춰 부러질 바에 휘고 말자는 나의 관념을 살려가며 3년을 달려 내 가슴 안에 있는 별들을 밝혀 이제 나 새롭게 비춰봐 세상이란 백지에 방탄도 새겨봐 더 불 켜진 내 미래 열어가 웃음을 지어 어느 날 난 달라졌을까 다른 길을 택했다면 멈췄어 뒤돌아봤다면 Oh hey yeah hey yeah 난 뭘 보게 될까 이 길의 끝에서 네가 서 있을 그곳에서 Oh hey yeah hey yeah 난 달라졌을까 다른 길을 택했다면 멈췄어 뒤돌아봤다면 Oh hey yeah hey yeah 난 뭘 보게 될까 이 길의 끝에서 네가 서 있을 그곳에서 Oh